Chapter 41, Climax of a battle. I stand at the edge of the vast, ancient and verdant valley, the blade of Retaliation that I turned into a katana gleaming in the sunlight. Before me looms the colossal 80-meter behemoth towering over the landscape, its immense form casting a long shadow over the land. Its eyes glowing with malevolence, a creature that can terrorize the world if not for me dealing with it at this moment, the ground trembling as it approaches, each step causing the earth to quake. With an excited beating heart I charge forward. The clash of steel against stone reverberates through the valley as my blade meets the behemoth's impenetrable hide. We are locked in a titanic struggle, and with each swing, we send shockwaves rippling through the earth. Forests are reduced to splinters, and mountains crumble under the force of our blows. The sky darkens as debris fills the air. The very landscape transforms as the once lush valley becomes a battleground of chaos and devastation. The behemoth's roars shake the heavens, but I stand my ground, my sword ablaze with an inner fire, fueled by my determination to protect this land that is about to become mine. The demography watches in awe and terror as this battle of giants unfolds, their future hanging in my balance. Our duel continues, and I summon my unmatched strength, and the skills I've honed over all those years. I slash my katana all over the behemoth's body parts with my light speed movements. Yet the monster's skin is just too though and durable. This is why I decided to change the way to approach it as I called upon my fire abilities to ignite my weapon, flames dancing around the edges. The ground trembles as I charge again at the behemoth, my footsteps echoing like thunder. This time the attack do effect on its solid body, creating red blazing cuts on its body, and the loud cries it let out are proof that it was indeed damaging it. It was a battle that would be sung about for generations, a clash of titans that had reshaped this land completely. The behemoth waves one of its massive tentacles to smack my whole body in order to stop me from further hurting it. The monster, battered but unbowed, began its slow process of healing. I lift my forearms in AX shape to reduce the shock, but even with that I was still sent like a sniper bullet 1 kilometer behind, crushing in the trees before bouncing many times on the ground due to my speed. Regaining my balance, I dive my left hand fingers as well as my legs deep into the ground to slow my body from going back until I stopped completely. As I lift my head to look, I see the behemoth from a long distance due to its big size, roaring, a deafening sound that shakes the very earth. It feels like this form Behemoth uses is like a berserk state where he uses in dire situation. It gives him a significant boost in power, but on the other hand take out his sense logic and become enraged. I said to myself, concentrating to see what it's going to do next. It swings its massive limbs, smashing through mountains and sending trees and huge rocks flying like twigs. Blue strong fires surrounds my body in a sphere as it meets the rocks and trees, strike sent from the monster, sending sparks in the atmosphere, melting the rocks and turning the wood and dirt into ash in the air before reaching me. Exhausted from the damage of the cuts but unyielding, the behemoth locked eyes with me although the long distance. Big part of the forest around us was devastated, a proof of our titanic clash. Behemoth unleashed his most potent spell, conjuring a vortex of darkness that I retaliated with a cataclysmic shockwave of wind from a single wave of my sword, testament of my unbound strength, as I kept up with this rhythm of fighting from a long range. As the fight continues, the power and might of both of us are tested. Behemoth unleashes his dark sinister powers, as he summons monstrous beasts and summons devastating spells. Hades, who dealt with the previous ones a long time ago, stepped in to stop them from interfering in my fight, but with how immersed I am in this epic fight, with a wave of Retaliation in a form of a dagger, all the beasts get cut in 1,000 pieces, and what was left of the mountain Crimson Grotto was situated at, was completely wiped out of the map. I even almost hurt Hades in the way, but it's okay, he's an immortal, he comes back as a skeleton each time he dies again, and have special self-healing abilities. Even after an hour of this long-distance exchange, the battle is on. My fighting prowess and strength are formidable and at its peak, as I am able at this point to split mountains with a wave of my sword, and my flames are capable of destroying all in their path. Baphomet, on the other hand, is a mythical entity with immense power. He wields a terrifying presence and radiates immense evil and cruelty, who turned into this huge berserker form. The fight between the two of us is epic and filled with powerful magic and energy, with neither side giving in or giving up. The clash of flames and the sound of clash of magic and usage of multiple weapons by turning Retaliation into spears to shoot from distance echoes throughout the battlefield. The battle rages on when I summon torrents of red fire enveloping the behemoth in a blazing inferno. It bellows in agony, but its sheer size and strength allow it to endure this fiery onslaught. The landscape around us turns into a fiery war zone, with plumes of smoke and flames billowing into the sky. To be continued. Chapter 42, final charge. From this point on, the fight takes a magical turn for both me and the Behemoth, as I channel my inner power, drawing energy from the very core of the earth to come out and execute my orders. The air crackles with elemental energy, and my body radiates a fiery aura and a heavy presence. The Behemoth responds by tapping into ancient earth magic, causing the ground to shake and mountains to crumble. I hurl lava and magma coming down from the right core of the earth, answering my call at the Behemoth, and it retaliates with elemental blasts of earth and stone. The battle becomes a spectacular display of raw elemental power, with the forest and mountains serving as collateral damage in this epic showdown. Seeing that the spells I am using are indeed affecting this raging beast, I decide to end its struggle in the next attack. Amaterasu, maximum output. As the climax of the battle approaches, I unleash my ultimate fire ability, a searing tornado of black flames that engulfs the Behemoth. It struggles, but in the end, the sheer intensity of my attack overwhelms it. The Behemoth roars one final time, a deafening cry that shakes the sky, before its body began to crack to finally shatter, completely collapsing to the ground in a massive explosion of molten rock. Inside the castle POV. In a meetings room conceived for the meetings of the gods and guardians of the castle, a beautiful and opulent meeting room made only for the elite stands as a testament to both the grandeur of the time and the mysticism of an era where magic is very much a part of daily life. The room is adorned with rich tapestries and intricate murals that depict Nouflex's epic tales of valor, and every inch of it seems to resonate with an aura of enchantment. The ceiling soars high above, with elaborate, hand-painted frescoes of celestial dragons, constellations, and mythical creatures. These frescoes appear to shimmer with a subtle, ever-changing radiance, as if the night sky itself were alive with magic. The walls are lined with dark, polished wood panels, intricately carved with arcane symbols and runes that hint at the supernatural knowledge of the people doing their activities inside. These symbols are said to ward off dark forces and bring blessings upon those who gather here, even though they don't really need them. The room is illuminated by grand, ornate chandeliers that hang from the ceiling, their magical candles flickering with an otherworldly flame. These enchanted lights cast warmth and a golden glow over the room, creating an atmosphere of both comfort and intrigue. In the center of the chamber, a massive, round table stands, carved from an ancient, mystical tree that is said to be linked to the very heart of the magical world. The table's surface is inlaid with precious stones and metals, forming intricate patterns that seem to shift as if alive, telling stories to those who can read them. The chairs are works of art themselves, each one uniquely designed and ornate, featuring plush cushions embroidered with silver and gold threads. The room is also adorned with an assortment of magical artifacts, from ancient scrolls and spellbooks to crystal balls and enchanted amulets. These objects hint at the castle, and this room in specific deep connection to the world of magic, a source of both power and responsibility. Approximative picture of the room. 3 of the most intelligent individuals of the castle are gathered here, in order to discuss the matters of the castle, and the missions they must undergo in order to reach their master's wishes. Diablo, you have heard what His Majesty said that day in his first official meeting. I expect from you as the god of malice that you already started preparing and taking action in that regard. Layla spoke with her authoritative tone as the gods and guardians' overseer and responsible. Of course, Layla Dano. The moment His Majesty let those words out of his mouth, an electric jolt surged through me. Excitement welled up from the depths of my being, a thrilling current that quickened my pulse and set my heart racing. At that given moment I already started planning for the best course of action that we will need to take in order to make Nouflex-sama reach where he aims. I even began the first moves which are the most important for the future. Diablo spoke with passion and excitement visible on both his voice and his hand movements. Very well, I only heard good on you, Diablo, so I expect you to do great things and don't disappoint His Majesty. Layla noted something on her small notes book. Of course, Layla Dano, the last thing I want is disappointing Nouflex-sama. He trusted me on these matters, so I cannot betray his trust. Diablo smiled while speaking. Indeed, Nouflex-sama can achieve and make all those things and even more than that happen, yet he decided to give us, his lowly servants, a chance to prove ourselves and show our abilities. This is just how merciful and gracious he is. Turning the page of her notebook after filling the previous one, she continued. So how long are you expecting for your plan to work? We can't make His Majesty wait while he can do this in an instant. She said with her pen ready to write the information. Well, according to my prediction, officially creating a kingdom recognized by the Kutri should take a maximum of a month and a half, reaching the level of an empire will take between 4 and 6 months. As for controlling the whole continent, I expect us to be there in a year and a half or so. Diablo placed his forearms to rest on the table. Good. But I advise you to make it faster. Writing the information on her notes book, she now turned towards Andrew Tate, who was smoking a cigar as she began interrogating him too. Now for you, Andrew, you received a report from me explaining what His Majesty wants to achieve and what kind of world he wants to create. I need you to give me a detailed report of all expected expenses for that. Chapter 43, Gumball and Darwin PSSSSSSSST. The sound you're hearing right now is my dick out in the air, pissing on the stupid goat who think he's Satan or something. What's up now, stupid ass? Weren't you the one to said that you refused to touch something us lowly creatures dirted, huh? How does it feel to getting pissed on by one of them? I mocked him as I kicked my dick back inside my pants after finishing. The Behemoth is now lying on the ground on his back, his forelimbs cute before I bruned them with hell's blaze so that he never heal them again, and his wings are cute as well as his two horns lying on the ground next to him. PPP please. Please. I'll never come back to Earth ever again. Even if they summon me, so please just let me go. The mythical creature that probably is worshipped by a lot of people is begging for its life in front of me. TCH. Shut the fuck up and stop bitching on me. You should have begged like this the moment you saw me, way before talking shit about me. I was stepping on his head, placing my weight on his face. I never could have known. Please let it slide just this time. Please. He was getting annoying, I hate to even hear his voice. Thud. Kicking him on the chin with my foot I continued. For fuck's sake, just shut up for a moment, I hate hearing your voice. TFF. Spitting on him I said. I think I already told you that you will die the worst way possible, right? A sinister smile, that of a psychopath, was immediately plastered on my face. Unlike you, I am a man of my word, so I will keep my promise with you, okay? Looking at its terrified expression filled with pee and spits, I was even happier. Then I turned my gaze towards his two horns on the ground. As for these, I will keep them for myself, all right? Turning towards Hades, I ordered him. Take him to Gumball and Darwin, they will love to have a new toy. Tell them to not kill him even if he begs for it, until he completely breaks. No. No, no. Just let me go. No, Hades flew with the beast behind, getting dragged by chains, hitting the trees and rock in the way until he lost consciousness since he already was weakened. Behemoth POV. Slowly opening my eyes, I found myself in a dark and damp place, with a musty and moldy stench that permeated the air. The walls were rough and unpolished, with dark and imposing wooden beams that supported the ceiling. The floorboards and ceiling were rough and uneven, and the walls had cracks and splits that allowed the room to be dimly lit by the faint light coming from the windows. The furniture was old and worn, with a sense of neglect and disuse that made the room feel even more creepy and eerie. Weird metal tools were spread throughout the room, some of which were hanging on the walls and others sitting on wooden crates. They included a wooden chair with restraints, wooden benches with spikes underneath, chains and shackles, iron bars, iron maiden, racks, branding irons, and wooden wedges. The tools were made from iron and wood with various designs and styles, but they all had one thing in common: their sinister and cruel nature. The tools were designed to inflict pain and cause suffering, and their presence in the torture room was a testament to the dark and oppressive nature of the place. Looking at myself, I saw that my body was back at its normal shape, but my wings aren't there. I was hanging on a wall with all of my limbs chained to this same wall. I tried to move my body as hard as I could or even use magic to break free, but it was all for nothing. Hi ho hoi 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 hiya. Hiya hiya ho how ha. Two maniac and spine-chilling laughs pierced the silence of the room, except for the chains crackling. They echoed through the shadows like a ghostly wail, an unsettling melody of malevolence. The laughs were far from the mirthful sounds of joy, they were disjointed, unnaturally high-pitched, and seemed to hang in the air, refusing to dissipate. As the echoes reverberated in the inky darkness, a shiver ran down my spine remembering what the men I fought said. Goosebumps pricked my skin, and an unsettling dread washed over me. It was the kind of laugh that felt out of place, like it didn't belong in the realm of the living. In the blackness, every corner seemed to conceal a hidden menace, and the unknown source of that eerie laughter left me feeling vulnerable and on edge, as if they were being watched by something unseen and malevolent. And from the dark, two figures re-abbled themselves, the one to the left a blue anthropomorphic cat with a distinctive, rounded head and large, expressive eyes. His body is simple, with two stubby arms and legs. He wears a pair of brown pants and a blue t-shirt. The one to the right is a bright orange fish with large, expressive eyes and a round face with a perpetual weird smile. His body features a fish-like tail, but he also has short, stumpy legs that he uses to walk not wearing clothes. What these two figures have in common is their short stature as well as their disturbing and weird facial features. Picture of the two figures here. Yo, you're trying to move right. He. Dant even tray, why casted paralyzing magic on ya? The blue creator spoke weirdly as if he's tongue WQS heavy. My name is Darwin, dis right here is may bro gumball. Why you're going to spend a lot of tame togator he. The golden one spoke. What are you going to do to me? Please just let me leave please. I started shouting. Saying that I was having the reaction they wanted. They got excited. X2 they both laughed loudly. Not need to start crane from nah, why you're just getting started hi. The blue one called Gumball went to light the place after saying that. While Gumball was lighting the place, Darwin went to the metal took hung on the wall and chose one of them. It was a pear-shaped metal body divided into spoon-like segments that can be spread apart with a spring or by turning a key. Its proposed functionality is to be variously inserted into the mouth, rectum, or vagina, and then expanded to gag or mutilate the victim. It's a historical known torture device. Turning towards me after making his choice, he started walking with a smile. Why we'll start with the anus now hi-ho-he-ho, then we will go with your penis. He again started crazily laughing. No. Stay away, don't come any closer. No. Ah. Ha. Chapter 44, Little Progress. It has been a month since the fight against the Behemoth. Tyrania did her job by recovering the parts of the forest I destroyed, and now it was as good as new, if not even better than before. I rewarded Gojo by making him the one in charge of the Elven village. It is a big honor and privilege since I plan on making this village the capital of my kingdom once it grows. The Elven village had advanced a lot with all the resources I provided them with. I plan on investing on this village to make it something great. I provided them with gold too, to start a currency between them. Meanwhile I create my country. The village could now be Koenigsdeert, a small town with small wooden houses and a few decoration here and there. We found a big iron mine and a small gold mine. They were in my territory, so I sent a group of elves from the village to work at the mines, with a wage of course. I'm not planning on making slaves out of them. And here I am in the sweltering heat of my grand castle. I adorn myself in the finest, yet delightfully lightweight, garments that befit a young monarch like myself. My robes are woven from the ethereal silks of mythical spiders, shimmering with a gossamer sheen that glistens like morning dew on a cobweb. Upon my regal shoulders rests a mantle of azure, the deep blue of a pristine lake under the midsummer's sun. Its hem is lined with sapphires, sparkling like 1,000 stars in the night sky, and it billows with every step, a cascade of silk that flows effortlessly behind me under my long red hair. Beneath the mantle, I wear a tunic of purest white linen, embellished with golden threads and intricate patterns that catch the sun's rays, casting a warm glow upon my visage. Around my waist, a belt of richly tanned dragon hide cinches the tunic, its buckle a magnificent, flame-shaped sapphire that mirrors the fiery intensity of the dragon's breath. My trousers are made of the softest, most breathable fabric, allowing me to move with the utmost ease. Crafted by the skilled hands of the castle's tailors, they are sturdy yet comfortable, a perfect balance of practicality and elegance. On my feet, I slip into sandals of the finest elven craftsmanship, adorned with delicate leaf motifs that cradle my steps as if the forest itself supported my stride. In this regal attire, I navigate my sunlit castle with an air of carefree grace, embodying the very essence of a nonchalant king. I am going to my room to meet one of the people residing inside the castle since I called upon him. The door of my room opens as I get close to them. Walking inside I see two people there, the first one being Layla and the one standing next to her is a man with special and weird characteristics. He has chalk-white skin achieved through makeup, which contrasts sharply with his bright green hair. His long green hair is styled in a disheveled, wild manner, giving him a maniacal and unpredictable aura. His eyes are surrounded by dark smudged eyeliner, creating a sinister and unsettling gaze. His lips are exaggerated with a wide crimson-red smile that appears cut and scarred. He's wearing a purple with a colorful dress shirt and a bow tie. He also wears gloves with a similar color scheme. He is the artist of the castle, the Joker. I see that you are already here, Joker, huh? Perfect, let's get started then, I said as I walked towards them. Oh mon Dieu. Nouflex-sama, I am really happy and honored that you trusted me on this matter. I will definitely make real art for you, my lord. His hand movement were exaggerated and wide, proof of his excitement and weird personality. Going forward to the table, I responded. I know you will, now let us get started. As I lied on my back on the table after taking my top off. I called Joker here in order to have a tattoo. I have been thinking of what I should do, but in the end I decided and sent the drawing to Joker via Layla. If there is a single person on this world who I can fully trust when it comes to art, then it's this guy. Sitting on his chair and taking his tools, he started working on the tattoo on my left rib, and after 30 long minutes it was finally over, and the drawing was completely done. Layla came towards me with a mirror in her hands to see how it was. Looking at it, I was very happy with the result. The tattoo said, "What does not kill me makes me stronger," in Arabic. Picture of the tattoo. Wow, bro cooked right here, I thought. Allure. What do you think, my lord? I hope it is to your liking. Mescaouils me grat. He asked me, bowing his head. I remember putting in his settings that he speaks French a lot, but I don't understand a thing now. It's truly amazing, exactly what I wanted and was expecting. I nodded my head in satisfaction, then turned towards Layla and continued, "Layla, make sure to reward Joker for his work." "Yes, my lord," she said. "Nouflex-sama, please, I do not want a reward, all I want is to keep serving you and making my art useful for you." He bowed his head. "You truly were useful, Joker. I will call you again when I need you." I wore my top again, not before checking the tattoo a few more times. "Thank you, my lord, I will take my leave in this case." He bowed again, then left the room. "So what do we have for today, Layla?" I opened my golden box that both you and I know what it has and lighted my rocket. "My lord, we just received news about a human group in a carriage coming towards us. They are not hostile and their trajectory show two things, that they are from the Lannister kingdom and that they indeed are heading to the castle," she explained. "Sitting on the office," I said. So they finally gathered their forces, this is why they sent someone here. It looks like everything is going according to what I am planning." "Yes, Nouflex-sama, those stupid sheeps will serve as stepping stone for the greater good, for your sake. It is true that those lowly human doesn't deserve such honor, but we have to do with that for now." She smiled with a sense of superiority. "So even my servants hate humans, huh? I thought it was only Momonga's NPCs in the anime, but it seems they all view them as inferiors." "Well, it doesn't matter, what matters is if a person is useful for me or not. This is how I value lives now as a king. Of course this view isn't for the people of the castle because I genuinely love them all, I was the one to create them after all." "Good, now all that is left is to simply wait and hear the reason they came here for. Their words will decide their own fate, if we will grow together or if I will annihilate them completely." Inhaling the last puff on my joint, I stood from my seat. "I guess they are getting closer now, send some of our trained battle maids to receive them. When I'm ready I will let you know to let them in." I walked out of the room. Layla simply bowed with a smile on her face. She know that what her master want is getting close, this is why she is very happy these days. Chapter 45, deliver this message. Sup guys, as promised you hit the 100 power stone and here is the bonus chapter. Again, if you hit 100 power stone there will be another bonus chapter. Please don't do it. Enjoy. The morning sun bathed the kingdom in a warm, golden glow as the messenger from the Lannister kingdom approached the castle. Clad in rich, embroidered garments, the messenger rode atop a magnificent steed, its coat gleaming in the sunlight. A retinue of 3 maids, clad in the kingdom's finest livery, awaited the envoy just outside the castle gates. The one who was at the front is the one in charge of the group of maids. She is a great Oni maid, with white pale skin and 2 red horns on her forehead resembling those of 02 and light bags under her eyes, and a pitch-black hair barely reaching her neck. She has an AK-47 attacked on her back. This doesn't mean she can't fight, she actually is one of the best in the castle when it comes to martial arts. Picture of the maid here. The other 2 maids are just normal trained maids who work under her. I sent them here to receive the carriage while I feel like ready to get him in and start the conversation and negotiation. As the messenger and his coachman riding the carriage arrived, the servants standing before the huge gates of the castle lowered their heads in a show of respect. The envoy dismounted gracefully, and the steward dressed in opulent attire, stepped forward, a warm smile on his face. "Welcome to our castle," the Oni maid greeted the messenger with genuine warmth. "His Majesty, the King, extends his deepest regards and appreciation for your visit." The messenger, visibly taken aback by the grandeur of the castle and the regal reception, nodded in gratitude. He also was stunned from the beauty these three maids have. "I am honored by this warm welcome," he replied, his voice filled with a sense of awe. "TCH, hypocrites. I can't wait to see you faces when His Majesty destroy you completely." The Oni maid thought in anger but didn't show it at all. One of the maid following the Oni offered a basket of freshly picked fruits and a goblet of the kingdom's finest wine. The messenger accepted the offering and took in the magnificent sight of the towering castle before him. Its spires seemed to touch the heavens, and its walls exuded an aura of centuries-old grandeur. "I must admit, I had never seen a castle as grand and magnificent as this one," the messenger remarked, his eyes keep changing from the imposing castle to the beautiful maids in front of him. Of course, this castle was made for His Majesty the Dragon Monarch after all. No simple human can dream of acquiring something like this. The Oni maid spoke proudly. "Dragon Monarch? What is she talking about?" The messenger was deep in thought. He was sent here but he had no idea what to expect. No one told or explained to him his destination, but the maid's words brought him back to reality. "If you'd be so kind as to follow me, His Majesty awaits your audience in the hall of the Great Throne Room, and I'm sure he'd be eager to hear your message," she said with a big smile. Her red-as-blood lips sent a shiver through his body. With a sense of wonder and nervousness, the messenger followed the maids, their footsteps echoing through the majestic courtyard of the castle. The servants, lined up on either side, remained in perfect formation, their respect and hospitality shining as brightly as the castle's towering spires, leaving a lasting impression on the visitor from afar. The messenger, still awestruck by the grandeur of the castle's exterior, was led by the gracious Oni maid through the massive silver and golden doors into the heart of the magnificent fortress. The transition from the courtyard to the interior was a revelation. They walked through the great halls, where the walls were adorned with rich tapestries depicting legendary battles and heroic feats of someone. The sheer size of the halls was a testament to the might of the one who owns this place. Magical torches and iron sconces lined the walls, casting a warm, flickering glow that danced across the stone floors. The messenger's footsteps echoed, creating a symphony of history and power. As they proceeded deeper into the castle, the Oni maid subtly gestured towards various elements that captured the essence of the kingdom's culture. Enormous dragon-shaped chandeliers hung from the high ceilings, their crystal eyes glinting in the torchlight, and dragon statues stood sentinel in alcoves, each one crafted with exquisite detail. The walls were lined with gilded armor and weapons from times long past, trophies of valor and conquest. But it was the throne room that truly stole the messenger's breath. As the great doors swung open, they were greeted by a dazzling sight. The ceiling stretched to astonishing heights, a masterpiece of craftsmanship, painted with constellations and epic scenes of history. Massive pillars, each carved with intricate dragon motifs, supported the immense chamber. At the far end of the room, under a towering canopy, sat the majestic throne. It was adorned with precious gems and precious metals, and it gleamed in the ambient light. A sense of power and history permeated the room, and the messenger couldn't help but feel humbled by the sheer splendor of it all. The Oni maid, noting the messenger's stunned expression, offered a reassuring smile. "We hope you find our kingdom's grandeur as inviting as it is imposing. His Majesty awaits you right there, you can continue yourself," she said, her voice echoing with respect as she left the place. The messenger, his gaze fixed on the throne and the breathtaking surroundings, slowly walked towards the throne where a figure he couldn't see clearly was sitting. After all the great things he witnessed, he could think of one thing. Just what is His Majesty getting himself into? This is something we cannot handle at all. He didn't need to see the strength of these people. What he saw inside this castle is more than enough to understand what they are dealing with. Now that he was close enough, the messenger could finally see who was sitting on the throne. It was not the throne that gave this oppressing and intimidating aura, it actually was the one sitting on it. One single look at this man was more than enough to know that he had bottomless strength and power capable of destroying cities if not countries. But not only he had this aura, but all the 6 people standing next to him. 3 males on his left side and 4 females on his right side. They looked at the messenger a look of inferiority and disgust as if they were facing a mere cockroach. Now that I saw this man, I know who those tapestries and paintings I saw earlier are talking about, the messenger thought. High above the mountainous realm, I, the mighty Dragon Monarch King, with my majestic handsome form, long red hair cascaded like flames, and a pair of regal horns adorned my head, a symbol of my lineage. The messenger, a mere mortal, approached my grand throne, oblivious to the power they dared to challenge. As the messenger entered my domain, the ground seemed to tremble slightly, revealing the immense weight of my presence. My voice resonated with authority as I spoke. What mortal dares enter the realm of the Dragon Monarch King? The messenger stood undaunted, holding out a scroll with a royal seal. I am a messenger of King Hymer, the ruler of the Lannister kingdom. He wishes to parley with you, great Dragon King. He believes your powers could be a formidable asset to his dominion. With a faint, enigmatic smile, I leaned forward, my formidable aura casting a shadow that enveloped the messenger. And why should I, the master of this dominion, heed the call of a mere mortal human king? The messenger, showing unwavering determination, raised their voice. King Hymer's armies are vast, and his treasury is limitless. He offers you to be under his reign, protection, and the glory of conquest beyond imagination. My keen eyes, illuminated with a flicker of interest, focused on the messenger. Be under him. Protection. And glory, you say? After a moment of silence, I burst out laughing at the stupidity of what this man has just said. PFFF. Ha 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 ha. I laughed. Even some of the gods standing by me expressed their mock by laughing too. A weak human want me to work for him, to be superior than me? What a joke. But does he understand the extent of our power? We could reduce his entire kingdom to ashes with a mere gesture. I asked with a mocking tone, emphasizing my words and letting a chunk of my killing intent on him. The messenger hardly took a deep breath and spoke with an almost broken voice. King Hymer wants you to know that if you refuse to surrender to him, he planned to attack I immediately and destroy the whole place. Ooh, scary seems like cute threats. I couldn't contain the amusement, and with a hearty laugh, my piercing gaze locked onto the messenger, I replied, "Speak your king's terms, human." With the scroll trembling in his hand, the messenger read aloud, "I, King of Lannister, Hymer, demand you to surrender completely to my rule, offering your loyalty, your power, and your realm. Refusal will result in dire consequences, as my armies will invade your domain, leaving nothing but ashes in their wake." A profound silence hung in the air as I contemplated the messenger's words. Finally, I leaned in closer, my imposing form casting an awe-inspiring shadow. "Go back to your home and tell Hymer that the Dragon Monarch does not bow to the whims of anyone in existence. I am a god, I say whatever I want, I do whatever I want. I count my gold and destroy empires for fun." After that, the messenger bowed low and hastily exited my lair, leaving me, the Dragon Monarch King, whose true strength was a force that could reshape the world, and the foolish kingdoms below would soon learn the extent of my power. Chapter 46, Dragons on the Other Side of the Forest. Other things were unfolding. The legendary fight between Nouflex and the Behemoth didn't go unnoticed by the creatures residing in the forest. The stronger ones, the one with power and control over the forest, don't like to see intruder in their domain. And I, the strongest warrior of the Dark Elves, am nothing in front of those creatures. All we can do is bend to their will, and erase our pride and desires when facing them. The dragons responsible of this place, too, noticed what was going on and ordered us to investigate. After our outing, we discovered a new castle in the middle of Betrayal. This is why I am here at the Dragon's Nest, to report that, the lair of the most arrogant creatures known to the living, the dragons. On this eerie day, the brave Dark Elf set out on a harrowing journey to visit the Dragon King, a task that demanded extraordinary courage. As the elf approached the Dragon's Nest, the sheer size of the massive cave that housed them was awe-inspiring. Stalactites hung menacingly from the cave's ceiling, casting eerie shadows, and the air was thick with the stench of sulfur. The cave was adorned with glittering gemstones that illuminated the surroundings, creating a mesmerizing but ominous atmosphere. The dragons themselves were a terrifying sight to behold. Their scales glistened like obsidian, reflecting the eerie, dim light in a menacing manner. The elder dragons, wise and ancient, exuded an aura of supremacy that sent shivers down the elf's spine. They regarded the intruder with unblinking, fiery eyes, their snarls and growls reverberating through the cave. The path to the Dragon King was fraught with peril. The elf had to navigate through the treacherous labyrinth of their nest, avoiding the watchful eyes of the younger dragons who were equally imposing but lacked the wisdom of their elders. Every step was taken with utmost caution as the dark elf walked through this majestic yet terrifying lair, conscious of the danger that lurked in every shadow. But the Black Elf's determination was unwavering, fueled by a crucial mission. With each step, he felt the oppressive presence of the dragons and their audacious nest, making the journey to the Dragon King a truly spine-chilling and unforgettable experience. Having braved the perils of the dragon's lair, the Dark Elf finally reached the inner sanctum where the Dragon King resided. The Dragon King, a colossal black dragon with long horns that seemed to touch the very ceiling of the cave, exuded an aura of immense power. With respect, the elf presented the report of the castle they had discovered in the heart of the Betrayal forest. The Black Elf stood before the Dragon King, a towering, imposing figure whose presence dominated the cavern. His heart raced, and his voice quivered as he began. "Mighty Dragon King, I come bearing a report of a discovery made within the Betrayal forest, a castle of unparalleled grandeur." The Dragon King regarded the elf with an unyielding gaze, his eyes smoldering with an inner fire. "Speak, lowly elf. What discovery have you made that brings you to my domain?" With a deep breath to steady his nerves, the elf continued. "It is a castle like no other, with spires that pierce the forest canopy, walls adorned with intricate carvings, and enchantments that defy imagination. It is a fortress of forgotten grandeur, hidden deep within the heart of the Betrayal forest." The Dragon King's scales seemed to shimmer with interest, and his voice rumbled through the cavern. "What significance does this castle hold for me and my kind?" The Dark Elf replied. "We believe it may contain ancient knowledge and power that could be of great importance to all who dwell in these lands. It could hold all kinds of treasures, gold and secrets that even the dragons themselves might find invaluable." A sinister grin crept across the Dragon King's formidable snout. Dragons are creatures known for their greed, they love treasures and shiny objects. "Great, elf. This is quite interesting, I will send someone there in no time. Be but mighty dragon, we suspect that the one responsible for all that damage in the forest, and who recovered it, is the same who rules that castle. So he might be someone really strong and—" The dragon stopped the elf from his speech with a heavy and imposing voice showing his sharp fangs. "Elf. Are you underestimating my power? Do you want me to annihilate you and your whole village?" "No. I apologize, my lord, you know better." The elf prostrated himself on his forehead, trembling from fear. "Humph. Begone, elf, and never show your gaze until you are called again." The dragon nodded his head to the other dragons behind. The elf lifted his head. "Oh. Thank you for your mercy." Then he started running out of the place. The dragon who was hiding next to the obsidian Dragon King showed himself as he spoke. "Great Dragon King Espada, I beseech you to consider this discovery. If we were to unlock the castle's secrets, it could further the cause of wisdom and power, not just for us dragons but for all who inhabit these lands under your rule. It could change the course of our world." The Dragon King's eyes narrowed, and for a moment, the cavern seemed to hold its breath. Then, with an imperious nod, he declared, "Very well, I was planning on seeing what all of this was about anyways. You can send Silverwing, he is young but pretty capable." "Espada," the Dragon King replied. "No. Hug." "Why?" "He told me I could." "Ugh hi af." The dark elf voice was heard from the king's room as he was torn into pieces by the young immature dragons after the Dragon King gave them the authorization when he nodded his head. Each dragon opening a hole in his still-alive bod, making multiple organs fall to the ground and get munched slowly by the dragons. "I will make that castle mine." Decode Espada, Chapter 47, Letter in a Grand Hall of the Castle of Lannister. At the head of a long table, King Hymer, a rotund and extravagantly dressed monarch, sits on his golden throne. He is engrossed in a feast of grapes and wine, indulging his insatiable appetite. Messenger Lucius, an exhausted and disheveled figure who just came back from the Dragon Monarch castle, kneels before the king. He catches his breath before delivering the grim news. "Your Majesty, I returned from the castle at the Betrayal forest, bearing news of their response to your demand for surrender." Hymer carelessly and nonchalantly tossing a grape into his mouth. "Well, out with it, Lucius. Did they come to their senses and surrender to the real ruler? It is only natural, hearing my great name would make them shiver and cower in fear." Hymer is a very arrogant and confident king, yet he is very stupid, having a false sense of power and control. The only reason his country still stands, and that he is king at this moment, is his first minister Drasen. Lucius, knowing very well how his king's personality is, was now hesitating and got a little bit scared from delivering the message Nouflex sent. He even had the idea of changing the message going in his head, but in the end he gathered his resolve and spoke. Alas, my king, they did not. The neighboring kingdom's ruler not only refused to surrender but also, provoked you. King Hymer, pausing, wine goblet halfway to his lips, asked. Provoked me, you say? He chuckles before continuing. It's only natural for lesser rulers to tremble before my might. Lucius nervously explained. They sent a rather colorful message, your majesty. King Hymer sets his goblet down and leans forward with curiosity, raising an eyebrow. Colorful, you say? Well, don't keep me waiting, Lucius, you know I'm a busy king with a lot of responsibilities. Lucius, clearing his throat, said. They sent a letter with a painting, your majesty. A rather unflattering portrait of you, to be precise. He gulped a mouthful of saliva when saying this. The courtiers and attendants in the hall gasped collectively. King Hymer, furious with a red fuming face, raged. A portrait? Unflattering. Those wretches dare to mock me. Lucius nervously continued, trembling slightly. Yes, your majesty. It was accompanied by a note that said, the only thing more inflated than your ego is your waistline. Lucius continued reading the letter. To the so-called ruler of the neighboring kingdom. It has come to my attention that you still cling to the illusion that you are a worthy adversary. I can't help but chuckle at your pathetic attempts to challenge my superiority. Firstly, I admire your tenacity in believing you possess any power. It's cute, really. Your futile defiance only serves to amuse me, like a child playing with a wooden sword, hurting himself at every occasion. We've observed the sorry state of your kingdom, and it appears you could use a lesson in economic management. Consider the good reception of your messenger a charitable act from our part, as we were simply helping the poor. Did you know that your name means donkey in my language, truly a title worthy of you? The only difference between you two is that your dick is the same size of his balls. Now, let me address your bravado. You dare us to attack you. Oh, how adorable. Know this, should you ever find the courage to cross swords with us, your fall will be swifter and more devastating than a storm. Your power will deteriorate rapidly, like a sandcastle before the tide. The Dragon Monarch does not know to bow to the whims of anyone in existence. I am a god, I say whatever I want, I do whatever I want. I count my gold and destroy empires for fun. In the spirit of your entertaining provocations, we extend an invitation, come, attack us, if you dare. Witness firsthand the magnitude of your folly. And remember, it's not merely your power will dismantle, it's your pride, your kingdom, and your very existence that will crumble in our mighty wake. Your treasures will soon adorn my palaces, fit for a king, not a pretender like yourselves. Yours in mockingly superior grace. Nouflex cor ignis I. The Dragon Monarch. The courtiers stifle their laughter, while others had their pride kick in, but it's evident that they find it hard to contain their amusement. King Hymer, turning scarlet red with rage, started shouting. This is an insult I shall not tolerate. They shall pay dearly for their insolence. Drasin, who was standing next to the king the whole time with a calm smile, asked the angered king, it is said that the worst time to take decisions is when you are angry, and this exactly what is happening. What would you have me do, your majesty? King Hymer, standing from his throne, a wicked grin forming on his face. We shall raise an army, Drasin, a grand and mighty army. We shall show them the true power of our kingdom and the might of my rule. And make sure they send an artist, we need a flattering portrait to send in return. The courtiers exchange amused glances as the king's ego-driven retaliation takes shape. The foolishness of the king knows no bounds, and his subjects can only watch in disbelief. They have no idea of the opponent, yet he wants to engage. This truly proves his stupidity. But what surprised the people the most was how Drasin, the most respected person of the kingdom, approved what this arrogant king was doing. This Nouflex who calls himself a Dragon Monarch shall know pain, I will destroy him completely and humiliate him publicly. Hymer, though, with 4 green veins on his forehead, about to pop. While King Hymer was doing his preparations for annihilation war, on the other hand, at the castle of the Dragon Monarch a big visitor in size was getting closer. The gods and strong individual of the castle sensed his presence, but I told them to ignore it. In the early morning light, the training grounds of the majestic castle lay cloaked in a serene mist. It was a sacred place, reserved for warriors, gods, and guardians to hone their skills, and this day was no different. Valkyrie, the goddess of war, stood alone in the midst of the vast courtyard, her presence commanding the very essence of battle. She was a vision of divine grace and power. Clad in shimmering silver chains wrapped around some parts of her body, her piercing red eyes scanned the horizon. With a fluid and deliberate motion, Valkyrie unsheathed her sword, a gleaming blade forged from the heart of a fallen star. As the sun's first rays crested the castle walls, her form seemed to come alive. Each step, each cut, and every parry was a dance of sheer perfection. She moved with the grace of a warrior who had seen eons of battle, her every movement infused with purpose and determination. Her strikes were a force of nature. Valkyrie is the embodiment of war, and her training was a testament to her eternal commitment to mastering the art of combat. As Valkyrie, the goddess of war, continued her rigorous training within the castle's training grounds, suddenly, they were cast into an eerie silence. A massive silver dragon descended with a thunderous crash. His silvery wings reflecting the sunlight remained spread wide as he landed boldly amidst the woman standing there. Silverwing was a dragon of pride and authority, and he had come to intimidate and instill fear. This was the emissary of the Dragon King of the Forest. Chapter 48, Unexpected Visitor. The big dragon with a haughty and strong tone spoke. Human. Behold the emissary of the mighty Dragon King. I am Silverwing and I have came here to... Boom boom asterisk. Valkyrie, far from being intimidated, her eyes burning with anger and power after hearing this dragon saying that he was sent from a Dragon King, there is only one Dragon King and it is her master. Valkyrie, a blur of movement and determination, shot herself forwards. In the blink of an eye, she was already under Silverwing's body. With unparalleled speed and precision, her blade sliced through the air, cutting both of his wings before he even realized what had happened. The dragon's roar of agony filled the courtyard as his wings crashed to the ground, his once mighty wings severed and bleeding. Valkyrie raised her right hand to make use of her one and only spell. Incapacitating Cross. A huge blue energy cross rose behind the dragon, as it pulled him and crucified him alive. His four limbs nailed on the cross incapable of moving a muscle, a few seconds later he was released. Nouflex-sama bestowed upon me this technique since he knows I don't know how to use magic unlike the other guardians. Once the opponent is crucified, he can't use magic anymore until I release the spell. Though. The cross disappeared and the dragon fell to the ground, but he couldn't reach his mana reserves to make use of magic. You fool, how dare you land on His Majesty's grounds without permission? And you call your king a Dragon King? I will personally make sure your wish to die comes true. She had a vein on her forehead from anger. Her sword held high, its blade stained with the dragon's essence. Silverwing writhed in pain, his pride shattered along with his wings. The goddess of war had demonstrated an astounding blend of speed and technique. With a voice as resolute as her actions, Valkyrie continued. Your arrogance has been your undoing, dragon. Speak your purpose before I kill you, maybe if you are of use to His Majesty I might spare you. The silver dragon, who is one of the strongest dragons of the dragon race inside Betrayal Forest, yet he was easily done with as if he was only a toy for this human in front of him. I will let the fact that you called me human despite me being a goddess slide, but it depends on your next words. Valkyrie's character could be described as Toji Fishiguro's Anger Issues X5. Silverwing came here to make these people surrender and intimidate them, now that he was in this tight position and witnessing how this woman that called herself Goddess of War cute his wings, his source of pride. Also the killing intent that she just showed was proof that she isn't something mortals like himself and his king can handle. Wait. Did I just consider myself a mortal? I think this is truly the end of me. The old dragon who lived for centuries, seeing how his course of thoughts was going, knew that it was the end of his long life, and he felt a new feeling he forgot during those long years. Despair. Knowing that there was no escaping it, the silver dragon gathered his courage in a last wave to speak words of truth. I have been sent here from a dragon calling himself King of Dragons. He wanted you to surrender and work under him. Hello, well, what do we have here? After I finished my ice cream, I decided to come out and see what all of that was about. Nouflex-sama. This fool dragon has landed here without any permission or so. She bowed her head. Even a monster like herself is bowing to this man. Just what kind of powers does he possess? The old dragon was in deep thought. After giving a look at this man, and the horns on his head he immediately felt inferior, as if he was a simple ant facing a huge tsunami wave, devastating and unstoppable. Yet I felt him coming from 6 kilometers away. So why is he here, and why are his wings on the ground? I asked with a funny expression on my face. My lord, I deemed that cutting his wings was the bare minimum of punishment for landing on your grounds. I wanted to decide his fate after hearing what he is here for. But this idiot said he want us to surrender to his king. Valkyrie explained. His king? Turning towards the dragon I asked, who is your king, lizard? Lizard. Did he just call me lizard? Swallowing his pride, he continued. He is the Dragon King and current ruler of Betrayal Forest for more than 600 years. He ordered me to make you surrender, and completely destroy you if you refuse. He swore, his long neck hanging down. Haha, are kings these times all idiots? I feel like King's IQ level is low in this world, ha ha ha. After laughing at my own joke, I continued. Where does your king live, lizard? I placed my hands inside my pockets. Our nest is in the northern west, 18 kilometers from the castle in the biggest mountain of Betrayal Forest. Turning my back towards both the dragon and Valkyrie, I started walking back inside to have some fun with the kids. I shall give your king a quick visit. Please. I have a single wish, if you plan on killing the dragons I beg you to spare the young ones, they have nothing to do in this. The dragon pleaded. Taking hold of Altyrion, who turned himself into a dagger, I cued through air from distance as the dragon. The cross spell and the wall behind were cute as well, so clean that the head was still in its place even seconds after the cut. The cut seemed to defy the laws of physics themselves, as the slash seemed to dance through space until it reached the dragon. The cut was so clean that blood took time to come out. You think you can order me around just for a piece of information? Stupid lizard, it seems centuries of living made you forget basic things and logic. I said, letting go of Altyrion as it floated around. Then, and then only did the head fall down to the ground. Layla. I called as she emerged from the shadows moments later and knelt on the ground. Yes, my lord. She said. Send Tyrania and Vita to the dragon's nest with that lizard's head there as a present. Tell them if they don't surrender to just annihilate their whole race. I ordered. As you wish, Nouflex-sama, it shall be done. Layla said, still bowing her head. Betrayal Forest only need one dragon, and it's me, the Dragon Monarch. I said as I walked inside the castle, hiding from the heated sun under the shadows of the hallways and gaining nods of affirmation from Blanc and Layla. Chapter 49, Rivalry. Tyrania and Vita received their mission's details and are now getting ready to head to the dragon's nest. One of the carriages is waiting for the twin duo to ride them to their destination. Yay! I'm finally going out. I was patiently waiting for orders from His Majesty. Vita excitedly said, jumping on her spot. Yes. Yes. I was completely bored alone in the garden. Finally Nouflex-sama trusted us with this. Tyrania was as excited as her, keeping up with her jumping. Tyrania-sama, Vita-sama, the carriage is ready whenever you feel ready to go. The butler in charge of the carriage respectfully bowed to the goddesses. Say, sister, let's go now to surprise Nouflex-sama. Tyrania was waving her hands around with her eyes closed. Great idea. He will be pleased if we do it fast, he might even reward us. Vita copied her sister's movements. Let's go, X2. The two agitated and excited girls went on to complete their task. Meanwhile, I, the Dragon Monarch, stood upon my ornate, obsidian throne, the flickering magical torches casting an eerie glow across the grand chamber. If you are wondering why each time the throne is made from a different material, well, it is because once I get bored from the old style, I order for the change of the whole throne room, be it decorations, statues, furniture, and the throne itself. Blanc, standing next to me, announced something. My lord, Valkyrie has arrived. Let her in. I said. The massive, ornate double doors of the throne room creaked open slowly. My eyes turned to the doorway, where the ethereal figure of Valkyrie, the goddess of war, made her entrance. Her footsteps echoed through the hall, each stride ringing like the toll of a war drum. In her silver chains she seemed to be a living manifestation of battle and war itself, her presence radiating power and determination. Valkyrie ascended the grand staircase leading to the throne with an effortless grace, her steps echoing the determination that resided in her heart. The flickering torches lining the walls cast dancing shadows that played upon her white short hair, creating an aura of fiery magnificence. Upon reaching the foot of the obsidian throne, she bowed her head in respect, acknowledging my power and greatness. Her knee met the red carpet and she knelt before me, a symbol of her unwavering loyalty. Valkyrie, I addressed her with a voice as commanding with the might of a dragon, I have a task of utmost importance for you. You shall be the harbinger of our power, the embodiment of my dominion over these lands. She knelt before me, her piercing sapphire eyes filled with unwavering loyalty. My lord, she spoke with a tone that echoed through the chamber. I am your servant, your blade, your shield. I await your command. I leaned forward, my eyes locking onto hers, and my voice took on a grave resonance. The Lannister kingdom, in its foolishness, has dared to challenge our sovereignty and question our powers. You, Valkyrie, the goddess of war, shall be my instrument. You shall march to the battlefield and face their entire army alone. Show them the futility of their defiance. I want you to humiliate them whole, you alone against a whole army. I want this fight to become a part of history so that no one ever dares to defy this Dragon Monarch's authority. I know that even if Valkyrie does so, there will be always other people thinking they are different and can challenge me, it's human nature after all. I know better because I was one, for 2 lives. A fierce, proud smile crept across Valkyrie's face. She placed a hand on her heart and pledged, I am honored, my lord, to choose me out of all the gods for this mission. I shall prove our dominance and defend your reign with every ounce of my being. As I watched her rise, radiant and resolute, I knew that she would carry out my command with the strength and valor that only a goddess of war could possess. With Valkyrie doing the job, I was confident that none would be left alive after whatever disaster she will make. Perfect, Valkyrie. We will wait for our spies' reports to know when you will be going out, until then do whatever you want. I waved my hand at her. Yes, Nouflex-sama, in this case I will take my leave. As Valkyrie started walking out, I kept looking at her juicy ass waving at me. Damn, I know very well what reward she is getting after her mission. I licked my lips. While I was deep into thought, Blank's voice pulled me back to the real world. Nouflex-sama, the young masters, Cloud and Serena are here to see you. My dear children are here, let them in, let them in. I am truly happy to see them. In the grand throne Cloud and Serena entered. The polished marble floors echoed with their footsteps as they approached the throne. In the splendid throne room, we shared a warm family moment before delving into the weighty matters of the kingdom. Seated upon my grand throne, I turned to my beloved children, Cloud and Serena, who were seated each on a leg. With a fatherly smile, I asked, Cloud, how have your studies been progressing? Have you been diligent in your lessons? Cloud, beaming with youthful enthusiasm, happy that I asked him this question, replied, Yes, Daddy. I've been studying math, strategy and history. I can even recite the names and places of all kingdoms surrounding us now. Oh, I see. You have been hard working, I'm very happy. I chuckled at his eagerness and then turned to Serena, the beacon of wisdom and grace. And you, Serena, how is your sword, magic and martial arts been progressing? I inquired. Serena nodded, her expression thoughtful. Yes, Daddy, he. I've been working hard to master the frost element and expand my mastery over the sword with Oni Maid, even Lady Valkyrie was assisting me sometime. It's a path I feel deeply connected to. As a father and a king, my heart swelled with pride at their dedication and achievements. I am proud of you both, I said with a genuine sense of love. Your commitment to your studies and training will ensure our future kingdom's strength and prosperity when one of you will take the rule. We basked in the warmth of this family moment, appreciating the bond that held us together. Soon, we would discuss the kingdom's affairs, but for now, our roles as a loving family took precedence. Daddy. Cloud began, his voice filled with wonder. We heard from the maids that there are kingdoms who want to fight you. Why don't the other kings understand your power? How can they defy you, the greatest one? Serena, with her gaze fixed upon you, added, Yes, Daddy. We've heard tales of your might and the godly strength you showed when you fought a lot of supreme beings. She then continued. It's hard to fathom why anyone would dare oppose you. Truly, humans keep surprising me with their stupidity. She said, passing her hand on my chest, before hugging me, pressing her breasts on my chest. I leaned forward, a mixture of love and pride filling my eyes as I looked upon my children. My dear Cloud, my precious Serena, I began, my voice deep and resonant. The world is a vast and complex place. Some kings may not yet comprehend the true extent of my power and the strength of our people in the castle. It's a delicate balance, and sometimes, they seek to challenge what they do not fully understand. With a gentle smile, I continued, but my children, even though we can control the lands and heavens with sheer power and destruction, we use our brains and rule not only through our strength but also through wisdom, compassion, and a deep understanding of our people and the lands we protect. It is not just might that makes a king, but the ability to rule with fairness and justice. Looking up with a calm smile, I said. But at the end of the day it's all for the good. Stars can't shine without darkness, right? We need that darkness for us to shine and rise. Cloud and Serena exchanged a knowing glance, nodding in understanding. Cloud's curiosity was met with my explanation, and Serena's trust in my wisdom deepened further. As you both grow, I said, you'll come to learn that true power is not just about physical strength only, but the strength of character, honor, and the love we share for our people. We shall continue to lead with these terms, and in time, others will see the greatness of our realm. With a sense of purpose, Cloud and Serena stood a little taller, inspired by my words. I see, Daddy, when I will grow I'll become a king as great and cool as you. Cloud hugged and hung himself on my neck. What are you talking about? It's me who is going to become a queen and make Daddy proud. She rubbed her cheek on mine. As the siblings duo was having their fierce discussion and rivalry on the next king, a wide smile couldn't help but be plastered on my face. Having this amazing fun life is the best thing I could ever wish for. Chapter 50, Extermination. Terania and Vita, the twin sisters duo, embarked on their journey inside the white and golden carriage through the dense forest, their hearts filled with determination and excitement. They both long awaited this day where their master would finally trust them and give them a task outside the castle. They followed a winding path that led them deeper into the mountains, where the dragon's nest awaited. As they approached the nest, the air grew warmer, and the sounds of rumbling, echoing roars filled their ears. The towering trees gave way to a massive cave entrance. Terania-sama, Vita-sama, we reached our destination. I will patiently wait for your return here, the butler announced, bowing slightly. Finally. We will meet the idiot who calls himself a dragon king. Terania quickly jumped from the carriage and rushed to the entrance of the cave. Hey! Wait for me, you idiot! Vita shouted, carrying a big white bag. With unwavering resolve and joking around, the sisters walked past the cave's entrance. The twins' footsteps echoed in the grand chamber as they ventured deeper, guided by an instinctive courage as they walked past hundreds of dragons of all sizes and colors with a nonchalant smile and unwavering excitement. At the heart of the mountain, the lair of the Dragon King, they found themselves in a very big chamber. An enormous, majestic black dragon with scales that glistened like precious gems. The Dragon King and his subordinates, dragons of all shapes and sizes, gathered around, their eyes fixed on the twins. Hello everyone. I hope you're doing well. I brought for you a small gift. Vita spoke enthusiastically with a cute smile. Both Terania and Vita stood in a line, enjoying every moment of their small adventure. With a sense of purpose, they approached the Dragon King and presented the message they carried. The air was charged with anticipation as the twin sister took something from the bag and threw it to the ground. Thud. As the object hit the ground, it rolled all the way to the Dragon King. Looking at it, he saw the head of the dragon he sent to make them surrender, his dead face looking at him. Espada, the Dragon King, was surprised and in deep thought. Silverwing was one of the strongest dragons to work under him, and these beastwomen brats brought his head. But at the same time this act was very disrespectful and made the dragon furious. You. Who are you and what brought you here? He shouted. What brought us here? Great question. You dared to call yourself a Dragon King while the Dragon Monarch breathes the same air as you, and on top of that you sent this small fry to make us surrender. What king of joke is that? Terania spoke with a mocking tone. Seriously, like? Don't you have a brain? You're supposed to be at least centuries of age, right? People usually get smarter with time, not the opposite. Vita continued her mocking him. You brats came to your death by yourselves, I will know. As the dragon was speaking, he was cued by Vita. Wait, you stupid dragon, we didn't finish what we were saying. The Dragon Monarch Nouflex and the real ruler of Betrayal Forest offers you two choices, either to surrender and become his pet and toy alongside all the other lizards here, or death. Make your choice quickly, she said, placing her hand on her small waist. The dragon became furious and enraged. Not only did they disrespect him once, but thrice. She cuked him half through speech, called him lizard, and wanted him to become the slave of that man called Nouflex. Getting up and spreading his wings, Espada stated while shouting at the top of his lungs. There won't even be bones left of you when I finish with you, you damned brats. Sigh. Clack. With a sigh, Tyrania said. So be it then, it's gonna be death for all of you. Right after it she snapped her fingers. Once I finish with you damned brats, I will go to that man called Nouflex and destroy him and his castle, Kukuku. FFFWWWOOUUUSSSHHH. Even when you will beg for me to kill you I will keep toying with your disgusting bodies, fool mortals. He was walking slowly towards both of them. FFFWWWOOUUUSSSHHH. Black hole. A pitch-black block appeared in front of the open mouth of the dragon floating slowly, and as Espada was about to shoot his technique towards the sisters duo. BBOOOOOUUUUUUUMMMM. A 200 meters meteorite landed on the head of the Dragon King, creating a huge explosion, destroying the whole mountain and the whole places around them. Even thought the meteorite itself wasn't that big, the speed and momentum gained from the distance and weight of her fall made the impact this devastating. Not even a Dragon King with centuries of experience of magic and battles could survive something like this. Wind blizzard. Tyrania used a wind spell to clear all the dust in the place to reveal the duo protected by a transparent shield, floating on a huge 800 meters wide hole instead of the mountain that was there only a few seconds before. How about a 10,000 years nap, you lizard? Tyrania spoke with a disturbing smile that would send chills down anyone witnessing it. Tyrania, you killed everyone. I wanted to ask Nouflex to give me some dragons as a toys. Vita pouted on her sister. Moo. Vita. You know very well that I have troubles controlling my powers. This is all I can do when it comes to reducing my magic. Tyrania scratched the back of her head with her eyes closed in an apologetic manner. You didn't even leave parts of their corpse so that I can revive them. Sigh, it's truly unfortunate, but there is nothing we can do now, let's just head back home. Vita continued while lowering themselves to the ground and cancelling the protective shield surrounding them. No, you can go back alone, I have to stay here in order to correct the forest, I can't just leave this huge hole on the place Nouflex is ruling over. Tyrania leaned slightly on her staff. Okay then, I'll wait for you home. Don't take too long, I want to play with you like we always do. Vita said while going back to the carriage waiting for her. Okay, take care. She waved her hand. Turning around, her face turned into a determined look as she clenched her fists. Okay, I got to work fast to go back home and meet His Majesty again. TOB continued, Chapter 51, Babylon. A week went after the dragons incident where Tyrania and Vita killed them all, and some pretty interesting things happened. The first 3 days, the Black Elves tribe came to me to pledge their loyalty. It's a forest where the weak follows the strong, so automatically after defeating the strongest, I became the one to rule these lands. The Dark Elfies, fearing for their lives, came to ask mercy to let them live peacefully. What I decided alongside Diablo is to regroup them with the elves and vampires at the village. That village was growing very rapidly, both in population and structures. After hearing the rumors of a village ruled by the one who rules Betrayal Forest, and that this village is peaceful where all races live peacefully, most of the people of the forest, be it beastmen, goblins, and even witches, came to see this place on their own eyes, and after witnessing the truth, they decided to live there. As for the other aspects, it started to become financially free, trades and markets were established using the gold of the castle. The only problem is that aside from warriors, butchers, and lumberjacks, there are no real specialties. We still need blacksmiths, merchants, and many other things. Of course I could provide them with these people or no leg from my own castle, but I will wait and send specialists from the Lannister Kingdom after I make it mine. Also, we discovered weird sand movements at the eastern north of the castle near the beach, but Diablo said that we can ignore them for now since there are a lot of things to do still. But all of this progress credits goes to the one I made him in charge of the village, Gojo Satoru. He was doing great work by managing everyone there, and the decisions he made were very wise and studied. Of course he was taking some advices from Diablo from time to time, but most of that was his hard work. Also for the Lannister Kingdom, they finally gathered their troops and started marching today. The spies report a total number of men going around the 310,000, and that the neighboring Khemor's kingdom helped them military and financially. They usually would have used teleportation gates to travel these long distances between kingdoms, but Marial doesn't have any, so they will need 20 days to reach us. Alongside Layla and Diablo we reached an agreement to wait 10 days southwest that they get close to the borders, and then Valkyrie will go to them. Of course I will pay back the Khemor's kingdom later for supporting my enemy, but everything has a time. And today's time is to go visit the village. As I stepped out of my beautiful, majestic castle, the morning sun bathed the grand structure in a warm, golden light. My royal guards, clad in resplendent armor, lined the path that led to my awaiting carriage. I descended the grand staircase, adorned in regal attire, with a flowing robe that trailed behind me. The forest that surrounded my castle, the very same forest where my people and I lived in harmony, whispered with life as I made my way toward the elegant carriage. The carriage, a masterpiece of craftsmanship, was drawn by a pair of magnificent horses, Midnight and Snowflake. Their ebony and alabaster coats shimmered, and their manes were adorned with ornate silver braids. The carriage itself was embellished with intricate carvings and gilded accents, fit for a king. Today I am only accompanied by Blanc, my maid. There was no need for any gods now for two reasons. There is no strong entities left on this forest, and Gojo will be there, so he will act as my guard while I do what I came for. I entered the carriage, Blanc following me, and a loyal coachman, a weathered but skilled man, greeted me with a respectful bow. With a flick of his reins, we set off toward the named village in the heart of the forest. The forest's ancient trees towered overhead, creating a lush canopy that filtered the sunlight and cast dappled shadows on our path. As we approached the village, I marveled at the village's rustic charm and how they progressed so fast. The thatched cottages and quaint market square exuded a simple, timeless beauty. Villagers lined the streets, their faces beaming with joy. Contrary to when I first came here, respect and smiles came on the faces of those caught sight and recognized their king, proof that my hard work wasn't wasted. Upon arriving, I stepped out of the carriage to the cheers of my subjects, and Gojo appeared out of nowhere, kneeling down in front of me. "Sup Gojo, how have you been?" I smiled at him. "It has been a while since I saw you, your majesty. I'm doing very well. What about you?" he asked. Good, good, you may rise. I came here to talk to the villagers, gather all of them here," I ordered. "At once, my lord." He stood up, turned towards the village and stepped forward. With a strong, resonant voice, he called out, "Good people, gather around and lend your ears to His Majesty the Dragon Monarch." As the villagers of mixed races hushed, they formed a semicircle, their eyes fixed on Gojo and then on me. I watched their faces, a mix of curiosity and reverence. Gojo continued, "Our wise and merciful king, who rules these lands, wishes to address us today. He comes to us as a ruler, eager to hear our voices and share his own wisdom." I nodded to Gojo, acknowledging his introduction, and began to speak to my subjects. Gathered in the heart of the village, the villagers of mixed races stood before me, their eyes filled with anticipation and a mixture of hope and trepidation. The sun cast long shadows in the village square, and the quiet murmurs of the forest surrounded us, a stark contrast to the urgency of the message I was about to deliver. With a regal demeanor, I addressed my people. "Dear citizens of these lands, I stand before you today not just as your king but as a protector, a guardian of this village and forest, and the diverse beautiful people who call it home. We are a unique community, a blend of races and backgrounds, bound by a common love and solidarity for this enchanted forest and a shared vision of a better future." I continued, my voice resonating with authority. "I have received word that an army approaches our borders, threatening the harmony we've built so far. But fear not, for I will stand firm in defense of our home. My powers, as your Dragon Monarch, will be a formidable shield against any who dare to threaten us. I will ensure that this village remains safe, and our people protected." The crowd nodded in solemn agreement, their faith in my abilities evident in their eyes. "Today, I stand before you with a vision for our future, a future that holds promise and prosperity for all. I know some of you are new here and don't know how things will be going, but I will make it that we become united and harmonious community, and this village here is destined to rise as a city that will become a beacon of hope and a haven for all races, a city that will stand as a testament to our unity and shared dreams." I hereby declare that our kingdom shall be known as the Dragon Kingdom, a name that echoes the greatness of ancient civilizations. And the city we shall create, a city of unparalleled beauty, culture, and prosperity, will bear the name Babylon, a place where the values of unity, diversity, and justice will be upheld. Let us embark on this journey together, hand in hand, and with unwavering determination. The Dragon Kingdom and Babylon will become symbols of our collective strength and vision. We will create a place where everyone can live a life worthy of any living being, and our shared future will shine brightly for generations to come. The villagers bearing these words filled with confidence and determination erupt into cheers and applause, their hearts filled with hope and excitement for the future. But seeing that I still haven't finished, they once again became silent to let me speak. With unwavering determination, I declared. But I vow to you all that our strength will not end at mere defense. I promise to make the strongest and most prosperous city in all matters. Our economy will thrive, our culture will flourish, and our education will be unmatched. I will create an adventurers' guild, and I shall make the headquarter of the whole branch in this city. Every individual, regardless of race, will have the opportunity to live a good life, one that is worthy of any living being. Together, we will create a utopia right here in the heart of the forest. Now, dear citizen, feel honored and proud to call yourselves people of the Dragon Kingdom, the crown tree that shall stand at the top of the world chain, and citizen of its capital. I finalized my speech with my fist in the air. As I concluded my speech, the villagers erupted into cheers and applause, their concerns replaced by a renewed sense of hope. In their eyes, I saw not only faith in me, but the determination to stand by my side and make our shared vision a reality. Wonderful words, Your Majesty, these people are truly lucky and honored to have you as their king. Blanc said with a proud smile. Indeed, Nouflex Sama, these lowly beings shall serve you well for your cause. Gojo expressed. Gojo, these are my people, and once someone show me his unwavering loyalty and submission, he become one of my people. And I refuse to have my own people called lowly beings, don't forget that. I explained to him. Please forgive for my ignorance, my lord, it shall never be done again. He quickly lowered himself, apologizing. It's okay, anyways I am done here, so I will go to deal with other matters. As for you, Gojo, I will leave Babylon in your care for now. I walked back to my carriage. Chapter 52, Dejala. 10 days went in a flash. Time is really a weird concept. It goes extremely slow when you are in a bad position or when you hate where you are. But it goes extremely fast when you are enjoying the moment and having fun. I guess it is obvious which party I am in, as the days became like simple hours for me. Reaching the day the Lannister Kingdoms is now 3 kilometers from Marial Forest Broders. Come on, Blanc, you can sit next to me, it's boring when I'm watching alone. I invited her to sit here. But Nouflex Sama. She was hesitant. A maid should stay standing up to do what her master orders, not to be on equal grounds with him. It's an order, Blanc, come sit here. A smile couldn't help but be drawn on her face as she sat next to me. We are facing a magical mirror, same to the one Ains has used to see what is going on other places on the world, but it has a range limit. Right now what I see is Valkyrie with her cape, standing beyond the borders, and a huge army of more than 336,000 men is marching towards her. After a while they ended up closing the distance as Heimer came at front with a shiny golden armor and a long eagle-rated spear on his black horse. I see that the man who calls himself Dragon Monarch sent someone to Surtur at the end of the day, huh? The Dragon Monarch finds your powers so pathetic and little that he deemed only me is enough to take care of you. She coldly replied. Ha 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 ha, what kind of joke at this? Well, it doesn't matter anyway, since every single one of you will be dead when this is all over. He turned his head to the army and shouted. Men! Go forward, we shall destroy and make an example of those fools. The Lannister army roared, a cacophony of war cries and battle spells. Mages cast fireballs, and warriors in enchanted armor charged. Adventurers wielding ancient relics joined the onslaught, and for a moment, it seemed Valkyrie might be overwhelmed. But the goddess was no ordinary warrior. With a graceful wave of her hand, she cleaved through the earth, splitting mountains as though they were made of paper. The ground quaked, and a chasm opened, swallowing entire battalions. The clouds were split in half, listening to her divine wrath, striking down those who dared challenge her. Valkyrie's sword danced through the enemy ranks like a streak of silver lightning. With each swing, her blade cut through magical wards, armor, and flesh with equal ease, as if she is cutting butter with a hot knife. Warriors in enchanted armor charged at her, their blades shimmering with dark enchantments. Valkyrie met their assault with unwavering resolve. Each strike was met with a parry, a riposte, or a deflection. She moved with a grace that defied the heaviness of her armor, and her swordplay was a mesmerizing display of martial skill. Adventurers carrying relics of ancient power attempted to challenge her. Ag! Her eyes blazed with an inner fire, and her voice echoed like thunder, striking fear into the hearts of her enemies. The Lannister forces threw everything they had at her, but they were no match for the goddess of war. Valkyrie soared into the sky with her physical powers propelling her to new heights. From above, she rained down destruction, obliterating entire legions with thirsts of her sword. As the battle raged on, the Lannister forces dwindled, their magic and might powerless against Valkyrie's divine fury. The clash of arms and the roar of magic had turned the battlefield into a maelstrom of chaos. The Lannister army, a formidable force fueled by all kinds of magic including dark sorcery, was relentless in its assault. Valkyrie's white skin evaded countless blows, and her determination remained unshaken. In the midst of the fray, Valkyrie's very presence seemed to radiate power. Her sword, the celestial blade, sang a song of destiny with each swing. It was a weapon forged in the celestial forges of the gods, a blade infused with the essence of 1,000 stars, and it cut through enchanted armor and spells like a knife through air. The Lannister army was forced to pause in awe as she displayed her godly might. She was the goddess of war, a being whose very existence was the embodiment of battle itself. The mages of Lannister, their fingers ablaze with arcane energy, hurled spell after spell at Valkyrie. Fireballs exploded in her vicinity, sending shockwaves through the battlefield. Yet, she was like a tempest amidst the flames. With a defiant cry, she created a colossal storm just from a strong wave of her arm, and torrents of rain lashed the enemy forces. The King Lannister promised great rewards to the adventurer to participate in this war, but they never expected themselves to be met with this kind of god, able to create this much chaos all by herself. They wielded weapons said to have felled dragons and defied gods, but they found themselves outmatched. Valkyrie's celestial blade struck true, shattering their legendary artifacts and leaving the adventurers in awe of the deity they faced, as she hewed through their flesh and bones, letting them fall simply as pieces of meat, once human beings. The Lannister forces, despite their tenacity, began to lose heart. Their spells weakened, their warriors faltered, and their adventurers were left in disarray. One by one, they fell before Valkyrie's divine wrath. A blood-red glow across the battlefield, the war between Valkyrie and the Lannister forces was indeed reaching its final stages. The Lannister army lay in ruins, and only a handful of devoted and battle-hardened soldiers remained at the side of their king. King Lannister, his armor marred in his own men's blood and his crown tarnished, knew that defeat was imminent. Fear and uneasiness were visible on his face. "Father, I know you told me to never use it, but now it's either me or this." Heimer thought to himself. Desperation drove him to a dark and forbidden magic that he had kept hidden, a relic of his kingdom's darkest secrets. From his pocket he take out a purple-black stone. In a voice hoarse from shouting orders and battle cries, King Heimer chanted incantations from a time long forgotten. Dark clouds gathered in the sky, blotting out the stars and moon. Thunder rumbled, and lightning streaked across the heavens. A sense of foreboding swept over the battlefield. Then, from the roiling clouds, a colossal, shadowy figure emerged. It was a monstrosity, a grotesque human so big and so wide of twisted flesh and dark energy. Its right eye is damaged while his left glowed with malevolence, and his legs were like gnarled branches. This abomination, summoned by the king's dark magic, was known as the Antichrist, the Dejala creature that had once been sealed away for its insatiable appetite for destruction and chaos. The Dejal's very presence seemed to drain the hopes from the allies of Heimer. "It has been centuries since the day I walked free like this. I was completely chained, my hands to my head, and my hands and head to my legs." The Dejal spoke with a deep scary voice that failed to impact Valkyrie in any ways. However, King Lannister cackled with mad glee. He believed that this dark force would be his salvation. "Ha ha ha ha. What now, you idiots? Let's see what you will do against High." Splash. The Dejal placed his huge palm on top of Himar's head. It seemed like someone holding a small ball with his hand. And exerting force, he gripped his fist, exploding Himar's head with all kinds of liquids dripping. "Who the hell are you? Fool." The Dejal spoke to the headless dead corpse of Heimer. "Ha ha ha. Things are getting interesting. I slapped my quad in excitement with a big laugh. Chapter 53, A Clear Outcome. In the heart of the desolate arena full of corpses, blades and blood, the clash of two individuals was about to unfold. Valkyrie, the goddess of war, stood at one end, her silver chains wrapping around her body gleaming with a divine light. She was a vision of pride and power, her sword, the celestial blade, ready for battle. Her eyes blazed with unwavering determination. On the opposite side of the arena, the Dejala, a towering figure at 7 meters in height, emerged from a swirling vortex of illusions. His sinister laughter echoed through the battlefield as he reveled in his mastery of deception. His dark eye, pool of malevolence, focused on Valkyrie, his adversary. Without a word, Valkyrie charged forward, her steps creating shock waves. The Dejala, unfazed, conjured a barrage of illusions, duplicates himself, spectral beasts, and nightmarish visions. It was a bewildering dance of trickery and deceit, and Valkyrie's sword swung through empty air time and again. "Fuck. Stop your tricks and fight me head-on," she shouted. The goddess's frustration grew, but her resolve remained unshaken. She unleashed a battle cry that cut through the illusions, and with a single, powerful sweep of her blade, she struck the Dejala's true form. The master illusionist roared in pain as her sword cut deep. Foo, we're only getting started." Only his voice was heard. The Dejala retaliated with an illusion of his own, creating a mirrored battlefield. Valkyrie found herself facing endless copies of herself, each with the same skill and strength. It was a maddening challenge that tested her every move. She slashed through her own illusions, searching for the real Dejala. With a burst of divine energy, Valkyrie shattered the false reality and revealed the Dejala's true position. He had a few scratches but nothing serious. The battle between the goddess of war and the master illusionist raged on. The Dejala, realizing he couldn't outmatch Valkyrie's physical prowess, intensified his illusions. He conjured a labyrinth of mazes and traps, making the arena shift and distort. The very ground seemed to twist and buckle beneath Valkyrie's feet. But Valkyrie, her senses honed by years of combat, refused to yield. She closed her eyes, relying on instinct and her connection to the battlefield. With a mighty leap, she soared above the illusions, her sword tracing a brilliant arc through the chaos. Her strike found its mark, cutting through the Dejala's defenses. He stumbled back, his wide chest bleeding, but the distorted and sinister smile was still on his face. The illusions faded, and the arena returned to normal. The master illusionist seemed to finally meet his match in the goddess of war. "You are really strong, but strength doesn't always win," he spoke, making the gods enraged, and as she was about to rush towards him, the Dejala intensified his output. Illusions swirled around them like a tempest as they engaged in a deadly dance of combat and deception. Valkyrie lunged at the Dejala with blinding speed, but her sword cleaved through yet another illusion. She could sense the real Dejala lurking in the shadows, mocking her with his laughter. The arena transformed into a nightmarish landscape, filled with towering phantoms and grotesque creatures that clawed at her. The goddess fought her way through this surreal battlefield, determined to find her elusive foe. Every step was a test of her mettle, as illusions threatened to overwhelm her. The Dejala's sinister cackles echoed in her ears, a constant reminder of his presence. The Dejala retaliated with a mind-bending illusion. He projected a vision of Valkyrie's darkest fears and regrets, hoping to weaken her resolve. Valkyrie's mind became a battleground of memories and nightmares. She saw the face of her master disgusted from her body, insulting and mocking her. For the first time the gods of war felt desperate and sad. A tear couldn't help but roll down her cheek. Thud. Her sword fell down and she knelt down, losing force on her body. She didn't like this and hated this, her greatest fear was happening. She couldn't stand being hated by the one she loved the most. And no. Nouflex-sama, please don't hate me. Don't leave me. Please. She was muttering to herself, the toughest person of the castle had tears running down her eyes like a fountain. Behind Valkyrie, stood the Dejala ready to land the final blow as he lifted his arm to kill the goddess of war. But at that moment, memories flowed in her mind reminding her of something special for her that happened a month ago. Nouflex-sama. You find my body disgusting, right? I'm sure that it isn't to your liking and hate it. Who would want someone like me after all? She asked. I'm sorry I bothered you with such ridiculous things. Please punish me for this as you like. She kneeled in front Nouflex. Stand up, Valkyrie. He ordered her, and as she did, Nouflex passionately kissed her, firmly holding her butt cheeks. Getting kissed this way by her lord and master was the absolute and ultimate pleasure and experience she ever felt in her life. But the next words her master said made her break down from the illusion immediately get cancelled. Valkyrie, I think you are beautiful and have a great body, I really love it. Do you know what is my favorite part of it? He asked close to her ear so that she could feel his warm breath. It's right here. He rubbed her strong and firm abs with his palm, making her blush to the ears. I'm serious, Valkyrie, you are even one of my favorites, you know. He continued. With sheer willpower and a newfound resolve and determination, she dispelled the illusion, emerging from the mental turmoil with renewed force. Her sword whirled through the air, but the Dejala managed to evade her strikes. Impossible. How did you break out from that technique? The Dejala was shocked that his strongest technique didn't work. Nouflex-sama, thank you for being with me, and for your kind words. I shall not disappoint. She tightly gripped her sword, calmer than she ever was. The illusionist summoned a spectral army of phantom warriors, each wielding ethereal weapons. They surrounded Valkyrie, attacking from all directions. She fought valiantly, each swing of her blade sending these wraith-like foes back into the void from which they came and changing the shape of the ground they are standing on. Seeing his illusions falter, the Dejala unleashed his most potent trick yet. He conjured a towering tidal wave, a wall of water that threatened to engulf Valkyrie. She stood firm, channeling her divine power to resist the deluge. With a determined thrust, she pierced the watery veil, revealing the Dejala's true form. Wounded and cornered, the Dejala had no choice but to reveal his final illusion. He created a duplicate of himself, an exact copy that mirrored his every move. The two Dejalas danced in perfect synchrony, making it impossible for Valkyrie to distinguish between them. Valkyrie knew that time was running out, and the stakes had never been higher. With an incredible burst of speed, she attacked both Dejalas simultaneously. Her sword flashed like a comet, and in a moment of divine precision, she struck the true Dejala, causing his illusionary twin to dissipate. The master illusionist crumpled to the ground, defeated and broken. The illusions that had shrouded the battlefield dissolved, leaving only the goddess of war standing tall amidst the chaos. Her chain was battered, her body bruised, but her spirit was unbroken. Why you? He was barely able to speak, fallen on his back. /AGGHH. He cried for the last time after Valkyrie pierced his heart standing on his body. Clap 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 clap. I gave Valkyrie a round of applause followed by Blanc for her effort all the way from the castle after witnessing her epic battle, satisfied and happy with the outcome of it. Great. Very good. Now it's my turn, I guess. I said with a smile, slowly rubbing my chin. Chapter 54, A Captive. Sunbathing is a fun activity to do, you feel your skin get warm and you feel a want to sleep while doing it, but it furls even better when you're doing it after smoking a Zaza. I'm right now only wearing boxer, sitting under the sun rays on the training grounds, Blanc standing like always by my side, red face and peeking at me from time to time, but I'll just ignore it. While enjoying my time, a vocal message came directly inside my head from Layla. Nouflex-sama, am I bothering you? No, I was simply resting, is there something? I asked. Valkyrie finally came back, and she brought with her what remained of the corpse of Heimer Lannister. What should we do, master? She asked. Bring it to Vita and tell her to revive him, bring him to the throne room and call all the gods and guardians there too. I told her. As you wish, your majesty, it shall be done. As she said that, the connection between us was cut. Getting up from the wooden seat I was laying on, I looked at my maid. Blanc, tell Valkyrie to find me in my chambers. I started walking to go inside. Yes, Nouflex-sama. She excitedly replied with a smile. In the grand chamber of my castle, I received a most unwelcome guest. King Lannister Heimer, the idiot from the neighboring kingdom, stood before me, shackled, wearing rag clothes barely covering his privates and disheveled. His once regal attire was now torn and muddied. On my both sides stood all of the gods in a straight line. I reclined upon my ebony throne and my reptilian eyes glinting with malevolence. A cruel grin played on my lips as I beheld my captive foe. Well, well, well. I hissed, the sound of my voice resembling the hissing of molten lava. What do we have here? The mighty King Heimer Lannister, now reduced to a pathetic prisoner. How the mighty have fallen. My servants watched in silence, their loyalty to me unwavering. King Lannister's pride had been crushed, and he dared not meet my gaze. Your arrogance has always been your downfall, I continued, savoring every word. You thought you could defeat me, the Dragon Monarch. How foolish you were. I extended my hand, and with a flick of my wrist, I summoned a ball of flame to dance in my palm. See this, Lannister. Fire, my element. I find it amusing how you underestimated the power of a true dragon. I let the fire dance closer to his face, the heat making him flinch. You thought you could conquer my kingdom. You thought you could best me. And now, you're nothing but a pitiful plaything for my amusement. I leaned in closer, my hot breath washing over his face. Tell me, Lannister, how does it feel to be at the mercy of your sworn enemy? Do you have any final words before I decide your fate? The room filled with my sinister laughter, the echoes of my triumph reverberating off the black stone walls as I posed the bottom of my foot on his face. Heimer's humiliation was complete, and I relished every moment of it. My amusement grew as I continued to taunt the fallen king. Oh, Lannister, your arrogance knows no bounds. Did you honestly believe your meager army could stand against the might of a dragon? Your stupidity is truly astonishing. With a malicious grin, I conjured another ball of fire and held it aloft, letting it illuminate the depths of his shame. Perhaps you'd like to tell my loyal servants how you plan to conquer my kingdom. I'm sure they'd love to hear about your grand strategy. I beckoned to one of my trusted attendants. Come closer, Blanc, and listen to the wisdom of our captive king. Tell us, Lannister, how did you intend to defeat the undefeatable? As Blanc drew near with calm footsteps, King Lannister mumbled his plans with trembling lips. The servant, stifling a chuckle, reported, Your Highness, King Lannister thought he could outwit you by flinging cheese at the dragons. Yes, cheese, the smell of which would repel them. The room erupted in laughter from the gods, and I joined in, my draconic laughter echoing through the chamber. Cheese, Lannister. That was your brilliant plan. Did you think we were mice, easily scared by your dairy projectiles? I couldn't resist any longer. I took a piece of cheese from the nearby table and flung it at King Lannister, who winced as it bounced harmlessly off his chest. There you go, your mighty weapon against the dragons. The mockery continued, each jest and insult driving the king deeper into humiliation, his arrogance reduced to ashes. In my dominion, he was nothing but a pitiful, defeated fool, and I reveled in every moment of his torment. Listen, you idiot dog, I will not kill you now since I still need you for later, but I will send you somewhere you will really love so much that you might go crazy, haha. I crossed my legs. Please. I know I was arrogant and stupid, but please have mercy. The idiot started crying, but I just ignored him and ordered the royal guards who were standing by. Guards. Take him to the torture room, tell Gumball and Darwin to have fun but to not kill him. Yes, my lord. Two of the Draconians shouted with their spear in hand, as they moved to execute their orders. NOOO. Please. Dragon Monarch. Nouflex. Mercy. His voice grew weaker as he was taken away. I will make an example out of you for people who dare challenge me, until the day I find the tranquility I want in the world, I will keep fucking up idiots like you. I announced with a firm voice. Chapter 56, Short Trip. After that fun night with Lakiri, and the mixed feeling I had in my heart at that moment comes the work time where I have to forget these things and concentrate on the future. Today I'm heading to the Lannister kingdom, the foolish kingdom that dared to challenge me and was defeated by my hands. As the victorious king, I sat in a resplendent carriage adorned with gold and silk, waiting in the courtyard of my castle. My servants bustled about making final preparations for the journey to the Lannister kingdom's castle. My trusted advisor and god, Diablo, stood by my side. Your Majesty, the carriage is ready, announced Diablo with a deep bow. He is a man of unwavering loyalty, and his wisdom will definitely guide me to more triumphant moments like these. I nodded, a regal air about me. Excellent, Diablo. Let us proceed. With that, I climbed into the carriage, lined with plush velvet and embroidered with the Dragon Kingdom's emblem, and my loyal attendants followed. Behind me 3 carriages with other people from the castle, and the last one is an exposed cage where Heimer Lannister is tied like a dog and naked. We will pass by the kingdom streets that way so we humiliate him. The horses whinnied as they felt the weight of my destiny-bearing presence. The wheels of the luxurious carriage creaked to life, and I embarked on a journey that would change the course of history. My personal servant, Blanc, leaned in, her voice hushed. Your Majesty, the kingdom you've defeated, it's said to be a very ancient one. The stories and the legends about them are all true. The new castle is said to be a marvel of grandeur, but nothing compared to your domain, my lord. I leaned back in my seat, a triumphant smile gracing my lips. We shall see it for ourselves, my dear Blanc. It is now mine to command. The promise of newfound dominion sparkled in my eyes. As the carriage moved forward, the landscape changed from the familiar to the conquered. The defeated kingdom's castle came into view, a towering edifice of white stone and imposing spires. Diablo spoke from the opposite seat. Your Majesty, what shall be your first decree upon arrival? The people of this kingdom look to you for guidance. Their previous king was a proud and appeasing bastard leading the country to famine and more criminality. I considered for a moment, my fingers tapping thoughtfully on the gilded armrest. Diablo, prepare a proclamation. I will let these people know that while they were once our foes, we now offer them the protection and prosperity of our rule. Let them feel the winds of change, a new era under my reign and a new air to breath from the previous prison. While riding throughout the streets, people were looking with different expressions at the cage back there, but the expression that dominated all was satisfaction. Seeing the one who treated them like animals and thought of himself as a god in that state was the best sight anyone could imagine, and it is happening right in front of them. As I stepped out of MT luxurious carriage, my eyes fell upon the magnificent castle of the defeated kingdom. It was indeed grand and awe-inspiring with towering turrets, elaborate frescoes, and finely sculpted gardens. To the common eye, that is. It was a marvel, but to a king accustomed to the heavenly splendor of my own castle, it felt merely average. My footsteps echoed through the opulent halls as I explored the castle, my trusted servants from my kingdom following closely behind. The maids and butlers that used to work here for the previous king seeing me walking throughout the halls were a sort of scared, but they bowed nonetheless, trembling a bit. The maids here need to get used to me. They are used to that Heimer's treatment and they probably think him the same or even worse since I defeated him. I thought to myself with a faint smile. Blanc couldn't help but ask. Your Majesty, why let these inferior beings serve you? They don't know how to serve a supreme one and don't even deserve it. Well, it is true that I can just bring maids from the castle here since I have a lot, but the people here would lose their job. With the situation already being not good, the last thing I want is to have more jobless people. I see. Sorry for my ignorance. Then what about the castle? It is true that it's decent, but it's not something worthy of your being. She continued. I nodded in agreement, though my expression revealed my sense of detachment. Indeed, Blanc, it is a good castle, but it lacks the creative touch and majesty of our own abode. Diablo at this moment chimed in. Your Majesty, it's true that your castle is unparalleled in its magnificence. However, there's something to be said about the history and legacy of this castle. It has its own charm, steeped in the stories of this kingdom's rulers. I gazed out of a window, looking at the sprawling courtyard. True, Diablo, it is true that Heimer is an idiot who doesn't deserve his place, but the previous kings does. History holds its own allure, but we must ensure that this legacy is woven into the fabric of our rule now. We'll bring the best of both worlds together. As we continued to explore the castle, Diablo approached with a thoughtful expression. Your Majesty, there are many opportunities for improvement here. The gardens could be redesigned by Tyrannia, the interior redecorated by the Joker, and the hallways adorned with your own dragon insignia and statues. A spark of inspiration ignited within me. You're right, Diablo. Let's make this castle an extension of our grandeur, a symbol of unity and prosperity. It shall be a testament to the newfound reign. Bring Joker and tell him to prove himself once again. With each step I took through the castle, my vision of transformation and magnificence grew clearer. My heart swelled with the pride of a conqueror, ready to shape a new future, fusing my unrivaled majesty with the history of the castle. Chapter 57, Announcement. With a regal presence, I ascend the grand steps of the conquered castle, my royal attire gleaming with the spoils of war. The crowd hushes in anticipation as I stand before them, the embodiment of power and might. Thousands of people varying in ages and genders gathered at this place, in front of the castle to witness the announcement of the new king to rule them for the years to come. Loyal subjects of this once oppressed kingdom, I declare, my voice echoing like thunder. Today, you witness history in the making, for I, your indomitable king, the Dragon Monarch, have liberated you from the clutches of a tyrant. The crowd erupts in cheers, their gratitude evident in their eyes. In the face of adversity, we stood together, united as one unstoppable force. I continue, my tone unwavering. We confronted the despot who dared to oppress you, the wicked ruler who thought your suffering was his sport. A smile appearing on my face, I asked. And what became of that despot, that oppressor? You might ask. I question, drawing the crowd in. With the crowd's adulation still resonating in the air, I signal for the dethroned king to be brought forth. Shackled, naked and disheveled, he is brought before me, a shadow of his former self. The crowd watches in amusement and satisfaction as I commence the public humiliation. Behold, the once mighty oppressor. I announce in a sarcastic tone, my voice dripping with disdain. This pitiful wretch dared to trample upon your hopes and dreams, subjecting you to misery and despair, and not only that, he even dared to challenge me. I circle him like a predator, my gaze never leaving him. He reveled in your suffering, laughed at your tears, and believed himself invincible, taking himself for a god on this land. I raise my hand, and a servant hands me Hymer's crown, but it was tattered and tarnished. I hold it aloft, gazing at it in disgust. This crown, a symbol of his tyranny, shall forever be tarnished by the darkness he unleashed upon this land. I mockingly place the crown on his head, and the crowd's murmurs grow louder. Look at him now, a false king, a coward, a usurper of your trust. With a swift motion, I strip the crown from his head, kicking his head as he stumbled back, and it clatters to the ground, the sound echoing through the silence. The once proud king is broken, his spirit shattered. He bows his head in shame as I continue my scathing condemnation. The people's justice shall be served. I declare, my voice resolute. For the countless sins committed against this kingdom, for every tear shed, for every cry of despair, and for the foolishness and pride showcase in front of this monarch, there can be but one punishment. The crowd watches with bated breath as I pronounce the final judgment. By the power invested in me as your rightful king, I decree that this oppressor shall meet his end. With a swift and decisive gesture, the executioner steps forward. The once oppressor's fate is sealed, and the crowd witnesses his ultimate humiliation and punishment, ensuring that his reign of tyranny will forever remain a dark chapter in the kingdom's history. The hooded executioners, two of them push the already kneeling Hymer down, placing his head on a metal-forged table, as the third executioner takes his huge axe in hands. Do you have any last words, vermin? I asked with a cold expression, nodding my head slightly. Please, Don. Clang. Thud. The execution beheaded him, as his head rolled all the way next to my feet. Waste of oxygen, you don't even deserve to speak. I murmured under my breath. As the life of the former king comes to an end, a collective sigh of relief and closure sweeps through the crowd, knowing that justice has been served. This fool Hymer now is but a faint whisper in the annals of history, a fading nightmare that will haunt you no more. I declare. A hush falls over the assembly, and I seize the moment to outline my grand vision. This country shall no longer be known as Lannister, it will be called the Dragon Kingdom, and this beautiful city will be known to everyone as Camelot, and I, Nouflex Cor has conquered the forest of Marial and tamed all its wild beasts and monsters, in building a city there that shall be the capital of the Dragon Kingdom, called Babylon. Unbelief was visible in everyone's face and their shocked voices hearing that I succeeded in controlling Marial, a feat that no one achieved for centuries. As your sovereign, I will rebuild this kingdom in a realm of prosperity and justice where no one will feel hungry, no more stealing, no more crimes. Together, we shall rise to unprecedented heights, our legacy echoing through the ages. My words resonate like an oath etched in stone, and the people hang on to my every word. The future holds boundless opportunities. I declare, my voice swelling with pride and determination. We shall foster an era of enlightenment, where knowledge and wisdom flourish. We shall safeguard our lands and protect our people, for I am not merely a king, I am a shield and a saver. With a final, sweeping gesture, I extend my hand towards the horizon, where the sun casts its golden light. As the sun sets on the past, it rises on a new dawn, I proclaim. I, your unyielding and glorious king, will lead you to an age of legend and myth. We shall etch our saga into the very fabric of time. The crowd roars with fervor, their loyalty unwavering as I bask in their admiration, embodying the legendary king of an epic tale that will be told for generations to come. Going back into the castle, all the gods were standing in a line applauding with a lot of commitment. Subarashi Nouflex-sama. Your speech was great. Diablo expressed. What the hell are you talking about, weren't you the one to prepare it for me? I thought to myself. Great work Nouflex-sama, the people are now more than willing to submit themselves for you, truly unbelievable. Layla excitedly expressed. Thank you everyone for the hard work you have been doing. But don't let this get into your heads, this is just the beginning. There is still a long way for us to achieve what I want. A big smile was on my face, walking back to my room. Yes Nouflex-sama. We shall not disappoint, X7 all the gods expressed at the same time. Haha, I'm excited for the future. I said to myself. TOB continued, hey guys, I'm happy and proud to tell you that the first season of Overlord, the Dragon Monarch, is completed. I will take a short break to rest myself, then I will come back with new ideas and new forced. Until then stay safe and take care. Chapter 58, Changes. High above the newly conquered city, I stand on the towering battlements of my castle, a silent sentinel overlooking the realm now under my rule. The air is charged with the scent of victory, a heady mix of triumph and the echoes of distant battles. The once hostile city sprawls below, now bathed in the warm hues of a setting sun. From this vantage point, I witness the transformation of a metropolis once marked by descent into a tapestry of unity. The streets, once divided by allegiances, now converge into a bustling thoroughfare, a testament to the swift mix of two worlds. I can see the signs of adaptation, the blending of cultures and traditions as the city breathes with the vitality of a shared future. The castle walls bear witness to the scars of the recent conflict, but they also echo with the promise of a new era. The courtyard, once a feared place from the rage of the idiot Heimer, now teems with life as people go about their daily routines under the watchful gaze of the castle's towering spires. Banners bearing the sigils of my dragon kingdom flap in unison, symbolizing a country forged not just through conquest but through the promise of prosperity and cooperation. The responsibilities that come with the crown are both a privilege and a burden, for normal mortals that is. I have an unmatched confidence that I am going to reach the point I'm looking at. From this elevated perch, I ponder the delicate balance between strength and compassion, the duality inherent in ruling a realm shaped by the clash of swords and the artistry of diplomacy. The distant sounds of celebration reach my ears, the laughter of children, the hum of merchants peddling their wares, a harmonious symphony born from the discord of conflict. The conquered city, now under my reign, is a living testament to the resilience of a people determined to forge ahead, their destinies now intertwined with the decree of their new sovereign. With a final, contemplative gaze upon the evolving cityscape, I turn to leave the battlements. The film of my rule has just begun, and as the shadows lengthen with the fading sunlight, I descend into the heart of the castle, determined. Now, it has been 5 months and a half since the day I conquered Lannister and made it known as Camelot. And a lot of things can happen in 5 months. Both Babylon, that once was a small destroyed elven village, and Camelot have become a thriving place where money coming in and out, the economy is doing just great without any third party or other countries. Camelot, where once oppressive shadows loomed, a transformation has unfolded, and the city now basks in the glow of a newfound prosperity. The very essence of the kingdom pulses with vitality, a stark departure from the oppressive reign that once gripped its every corner. Economically, the city thrives like a well-nurtured garden. Markets once shackled by heavy taxes and restrictive trade policies now teem with merchants hawking their wares. The aroma of exotic spices mingles with the lively chatter of vendors, and the coins exchanged bear witness to the flourishing commerce that defines this revitalized Camelot. Families, once burdened by the weight of unjust levies, now find solace in the relief brought forth by fair governance. Children play in the open squares, their laughter echoing against the refurbished facades of once dilapidated buildings. The specter of poverty has waned, replaced by a burgeoning middle class enjoying the fruits of a more equitable distribution of wealth. The homes, once shrouded in an air of despondency, now stand as testaments to the city's rejuvenation. Flowers adorn windowsills, and the vibrant colors of freshly painted shutters reflect the optimism that courses through the veins of Camelot. The oppressive king's decrees have been replaced by policies that prioritize the welfare of the people, fostering a sense of security and stability. Within the castle walls, a symbol of both authority and transformation, the throne room resonates with the echoes of wise counsel. Advisors, once hesitant to voice dissent, now contribute to the shaping of policies that consider the needs and aspirations of every citizen. The grand halls, adorned with tapestries illustrating the city's journey from oppression to prosperity, stand as a living museum of Camelot's triumphant evolution. The once crumbling infrastructure has undergone a renaissance, with thoroughfares widened, bridges reinforced, and public spaces revitalized. Camelot, once defined by decay, now stands as a beacon of architectural prowess and civic planning, reflecting the collective pride of a populace invested in the resurgence of their beloved city. As I walk through the bustling streets, the air is charged with a palpable sense of gratitude and affection. A merchant, with a grateful smile, approaches me. "Your Majesty, our business has flourished like never before. The lifted trade restrictions have made a world of difference." I nod, acknowledging the impact of economic reforms. "A thriving market benefits us all. Your prosperity is the kingdom's prosperity." The citizens of Camelot, once weighed down by the shackles of oppression, now greet me with smiles that reach their eyes. Market vendors pause from their transactions to express heartfelt thanks, and families gather in the squares to share stories of how their lives have been irrevocably altered for the better. The once muted whispers of discontent have given way to jubilant conversations about a brighter future. Children playing in the square rush over, their eyes filled with curiosity. One of them pipes up, "Are you the king who made our city so nice?" With a warm smile, I reply, "Indeed, young one. And it's your bright smiles that make it even nicer." Children, once wary of authority, now run up to me with unabashed joy, their innocent laughter echoing the newfound sense of security that permeates the city. Their parents, too, approach with gratitude, expressing how the policies enacted during my rule have alleviated the burdens that once cast a shadow over their daily lives. As for Babylon, once a humble elven village ravaged by the dark reign of vampires, it now stands as a testament to resilience and collaborative strength. The streets there bustle with the vibrant energy of different races coexisting in peace. Dwarves, humans, elves, vampires, and others share laughter and camaraderie, their diverse backgrounds interwoven into the very fabric of Nouflex city. It is now a harmonious tapestry of races, stands as a testament to the strategic advantages that diversity brings to my kingdom. The collaboration of different races has become a cornerstone of progress, each contributing their unique skills to enhance the overall prosperity and functionality of the realm. Dwarven artisans, renowned for their craftsmanship, have turned the Dragon Kingdom into a hub of weapon and armor production. The clanging of hammers and the hiss of hot metal in their forges echo through the city, creating a formidable industry that supplies the kingdom's armies with unparalleled quality in arms. The stout resilience of dwarven architecture has fortified the city's structures, making them not only resilient but also architecturally impressive. Elven residents, deeply connected to the mystical arts, have turned Babylon into a center for magical studies and healing practices. Their knowledge of ancient spells and herbal remedies has bolstered the kingdom's healthcare system. Now the most prestigious magical academy is being built in there. The enchanting glow of elven wards now protects the city, while elven healers tend to the wounded with an expertise that transcends conventional medicine. Human merchants thrive in the diverse markets of Babylon, facilitating trade and commerce that reaches every corner of the kingdom. The cultural exchange within the city has birthed a marketplace where goods and ideas flow freely, stimulating economic growth. Human diplomacy, interwoven with the varied perspectives of other races, has strengthened alliances and positioned the kingdom as a diplomatic force. The inclusion of vampires, once considered adversaries, has added a unique element to Nouflex's nocturnal culture. Their heightened senses and strategic insights have proven invaluable in securing the kingdom's borders and dealing with challenges that emerge after sunset. Gnomes, with their keen intellect, have pioneered technological advancements that have propelled the kingdom into an era of innovation. Babylon is starting to become a center for research and development, with gnomish inventors contributing to fields ranging from agriculture to infrastructure. In essence, Babylon has become a microcosm of the kingdom's potential. The strategic blending of races has transformed it into a thriving metropolis where each contributes to the greater good. The collaborative efforts of dwarves, elves, humans, vampires, gnomes, and other races have not only elevated Babylon but have become the driving force behind the kingdom's overall prosperity. The diversified skill sets and perspectives have positioned my realm as a beacon of progress, setting the stage for a second season defined by innovation, cooperation, and domination. Even for the military force of Camelot and the Dragon Kingdom, Gabru and Diablo devised a plan to fortify my kingdom's military might. The echoes of past oppression still lingered, and they saw an opportunity to turn the tides by empowering those who had once been disregarded, the seasoned soldiers who had endured neglect under the former regime. Recognizing the latent potential within the experienced ranks, we initiated a series of reforms. Increased wages, improved living conditions, and access to magical education became the pillars of a transformative agenda. The soldiers, once relegated to the fringes, now found themselves at the forefront of a revitalized military force. Magic, the lifeblood of our world, became the focal point of our strategic evolution. Recognizing the diverse magical talents within the ranks, I implemented specialized training programs. Elemental mages honed their control over fire and water, while healers delved into advanced curative spells. The once oppressed magical practitioners now flourished, their skills woven into the very fabric of our military strategy. Collaborative spellcasting emerged as a cornerstone of our approach. Bat lineages worked in tandem, their combined energies creating protective shields that withstood even the most formidable magical onslaughts. The synergy of different magical disciplines became a force multiplier, turning our military into a dynamic and adaptive entity. In the courtyard, where once the clinking of chains had drowned out all other sounds, soldiers now engaged in rigorous training sessions. Sparring matches, enchanted obstacle courses, and tactical simulations became the norm. The soldiers, fueled by newfound purpose and respect, honed their magical prowess, transforming into a formidable force capable of facing any adversary. To further solidify the unity among the troops, I instituted a mentorship program. Seasoned veterans took fledgling mages under their wings, imparting not just magical knowledge but also the wisdom gained through years of service. The camaraderie that flourished within these mentorship bonds fostered a sense of loyalty that transcended the individual and fortified the collective strength of our military. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the courtyard, the transformed military force stood in formation, a testament to resilience, unity, and strategic innovation. The second season of my rule unfolded with a military poised not just to defend the kingdom but to shape the destiny of a magical world, where the echoes of oppression had been replaced by the resounding cadence of a unified and empowered force. Chapter 59, King and Daughter. Carabiana Kingdom. The mystical realm of Carabiana, a kingdom renowned far and wide for its unparalleled mastery of magic. Nestled between rolling hills and the ancient forest of Marial, Carabiana is a land where the very air crackles with arcane energy, and every corner of the kingdom pulsates with the rhythm of enchanted life. In the heart of Carabiana, towering spires of crystalline architecture reach towards the sky, shimmering with iridescent hues. These structures, crafted with intricate spells, serve as both homes and academies where the gifted inhabitants hone their magical prowess. The streets of Carabiana are paved with enchanted stones that glow softly at night, guiding the way for those who wander beneath the canopy of spellbound trees. Here, magic is not just a skill but a way of life. From the youngest apprentices to the most seasoned sorcerers, the kingdom breathes and thrives on the ebb and flow of mystical energies. Crystal-clear fountains overflow with water imbued with healing properties, and the fields yield crops cultivated through ancient, benevolent charms. At the heart of Carabiana's magical might is its esteemed academy, Xyrus Academy, where the most gifted practitioners of the arcane arts gather to exchange knowledge and push the boundaries of magical understanding. The kingdom's reputation as a haven for magical scholars attracts talents from across realms, making Carabiana a melting pot of diverse magical traditions. The beating heart of Carabiana, where everything important happens, is Xyrus City, the capital city where the king lives. In the grand throne room of the magical kingdom, ornate tapestries adorned the walls, depicting tales of ancient enchantments. The air shimmered with a faint magical aura, and the room echoed with a subtle hum of mystical energy. Seated upon a majestic throne, the elderly king, a venerable figure with a long white beard and eyes that held the wisdom of centuries, surveyed his kingdom. His gnarled hands rested on the arms of the regal chair, each finger bearing the weight of countless spells woven through time. Beside him stood his daughter, a vision of youth and beauty. Her flowing gown mirrored the colors of a sunset, and her raven hair cascaded in graceful waves. Despite her regal bearing, her crystal blue eyes sparkled with warmth and intelligence. As father and daughter shared a moment, the king's voice resonated with ancient power, imparting sagely advice to his successor. "My time is getting closer, Lara, the day you will take the lead of this magnificent country and its glory. I can already see it. This is why I decided to personally train you and not let the maids and butler do this job after all." The daughter, in turn, absorbed his words with respect, a seamless blend of love and duty echoing through the ethereal chamber. "What are you talking about, father? I'm still not ready to take on this heavy responsibility," and I am no close to your wisdom and level. She quickly replied. Hearing her response, a soft yet sad smile was on his face, as he continued. I'm sorry to leave this responsibility to you, especially after the interesting things happening in the world right now. Lara turned to face her father with a worried expression. Are you talking about the Dragon Kingdom, father? She asked. The king reclined in his ornate chair, fingers steepled beneath his white beard, his gaze fixed on the shimmering tapestry that adorned the throne room in front of him. Yes, this is a matter of great importance that we need to discuss, since their borders are on ours, he said. Lara nods her head. Indeed, his name is Nouflex cor Ignici, and the Dragon Monarch, they call him. Rumors of his conquests have reached even the distant corners of our realm. The Lannister kingdom, an oppressing strong county, succumbed to his power. The king solemnly replies, after a long sigh. Even Betrayal Forest, Lara. A place where even the bravest dared not tread. Its creatures were deemed untamable, its depths unconquerable. Yet, Nouflex claimed it as his own. Lara raised an eyebrow from what her father just stated. The Betrayal Forest. Father, those are tales from bedtime stories, spoken to scare children. How could anyone subdue such a perilous place? The king leaned forward. That's what makes this matter so perplexing. Nouflex cor Ignici is said to have tamed dragons. Dragons, Lara. Creatures of myth and ancient lore. Lara's face became even more complex and shocked. Dragons. Father, you speak of legends as if they walk among us. Is this Dragon Monarch truly capable of such feats? Not even in the history of our magical country did we ever tame a dragon. He slowly nodded his head. The reports suggest so. Betrayal's monstrous inhabitants, brought under his control. It defies all we know. Lara with a thoughtful expression asked. And Lannister Kingdom? How did he manage to conquer it so swiftly? Even thought Heimer was an idiot, what his father left from military powers and strong treasures isn't to be underestimated. The king grimaces, with a weird smile on his face. I don't know, Lara, I don't know. What the reports say isn't something logical at all, so I prefer not to think about it. After rubbing his temples, the king continued. This is not all, not only did he conquer Lannister but transformed it into a better kingdom, freeing its people from an oppressive rule. Rumors speak of newfound prosperity and freedom. Lara was still trying to process all the news she was receiving earlier, so all she could do was ask if there was even more things, a tyrant replaced by a benevolent ruler. That's an unexpected turn. What else have you learned, father? The king clenched his fist as he spoke. There's talk of a grand magical academy being built in Betrayal Forest, one that's meant to rival ours, the best in the world. They say it will surpass even our own renowned academy. Lara furrowed her brows at this statement. A magical academy? In Betrayal? That's a bold move. Our kingdom has always been a beacon of magical knowledge. The king explained. It's not called Betrayal Forest no more, now it's Babylon, and this academy is said to be able to draw the most talented magical minds from across realms because of its accessibility, artifacts, and tools they have. It poses a direct competition to our own academy. The young girl, concerned about her future spot as the queen, expressed. This is troubling news. Our academy has been the pinnacle of magical education for generations. We cannot allow a rival institution to overshadow our legacy. Also, if he can conquer Betrayal and Lannister, what's to stop him from expanding further? The king leans back his throne and pauses for a moment, then he replies. That's a question that weighs heavily on my mind, Lara. We must tread carefully. The unknown has always been a formidable adversary. She softly asked, feeling overwhelmed and not able to think straight. What do we do, father? Looking into her eyes, the king asked. The Ice Age heart, I'm sure you know what it is, right? She enthusiastically replied. Of course I know it. I studied about this thing for years. It's a national treasure that belonged to our royal family, but 230 years ago a war between our kingdom and Camelot's kingdom happened. This left us in a very vulnerable position, which the Lannister kingdom took advantage of to steal it from our treasury, right? You are completely right, Lara. That crystal is very important for us and our magical heritage, and now that Dragon Monarch have it in his treasury, I will send you alongside skilled diplomats in the arts of negotiation. We need to understand Nouflex's motives, assess the threat he poses, and perhaps find a path to peaceful coexistence. While doing so, we will offer him to recognize his rule and kingdom, sign a non-aggression treaty and open trading and economical routes and roads in exchange of giving us that crystal. The king explained his plan. Diplomacy. In the face of a rising power? Shouldn't we just make them submit? We have the best mages and equipments for wars. Lara tried to give her point of view. Diplomacy is our first step. War, my daughter, is the last resort. We must approach this Dragon Monarch with caution, wisdom, and wittedness. The king caressed his daughter's shoulder. Lara, determined to complete her mission, said, I shall oversee the diplomatic efforts in this case, father. We'll navigate these uncharted waters with prudence and grace. The king smiles, and feels proud of his daughter that has grown to a fine woman. Your strength and wisdom reassure me, Lara. Together, until the day I leave you, we shall face whatever challenges this new chapter in our history unfolds. To be continued, Chapter 60, Economical Strings. Nouflex-sama, Androdano is here to meet you. Gently announced Blanc, while preparing some paperwork for me on the desk. Most of the report I receive aren't really something special or anything hard, it's just report about the total of our gains, some expenses, and other things like this. The Guardian and gods know by now that I hate paperwork, so they created a special Devishown only dedicated for these complex things. Diablo or Layla can handle them, of course, but they have other responsibilities and jobs to do other than paper. And my only job is to skip the whole content of the report and just read the small shummery written down. I have 2 stamps. If I find that it's appropriate, I stamp as green, meaning approved, ANS. If I don't like it or want to change it, I stamp it red and write what I want to change. Sure, let him. I waved my hand while stamping green, a report about making the maid's dress a little bit more revealing. It was my idea after all. I reclined on my big fluffy chair, the crown upon my head. Andrew, the money dog, my trusted financial advisor, approached with a bow, and I gestured for him to speak. Your Majesty, Andrew began, his eyes reflecting the diligence that had become synonymous with his counsel. Our kingdom's economy is in a state of uprising prosperity without relying on external trades. Yeah, I did see that with my own eyes, but can you tell me more in details? I received your report but still didn't check them. I said with an interested expression, but in reality I just was lazy to read all the long shit, so I just stamped it green. Andrew met my gaze. It's your strategic vision, Your Majesty. We've invested heavily in developing our domestic industries, fostering innovation and self-sufficiency. Our economy is flourishing beyond all expectations. Andrew began, excitement evident in his voice. Our agricultural output has increased by 55% over the past 5 months, and our industries have seen a 78% spike in productivity compared to Heimer's time of rule. The standard of living for our citizens has never been higher, and unemployment is at an all-time low. And as I said before, the most remarkable part is that our economic growth has been largely self-sustained, without the need for external trades and business with other countries. Andrew's eyes lit up with enthusiasm as he continued. Even our people enjoy a high standard of living. Access to education, healthcare, and social support is unparalleled. Unemployment is virtually non-existent, and every citizen experiences the fruits of our economic prosperity. All of this is thanks to your genius plans, my lord. A proud smile crept onto my face. Great, very great. Imagine the wealth and development we would have as we get in contact with other countries for trade. Indeed, my lord, it's all thanks to your leadership, Your Majesty. With your wisdom and foresight, our kingdom will continue to flourish. I am honored to serve you and be part of this history. I acknowledged his words with a nod, my gaze sweeping across the kingdom beyond the palace walls. I will keep counting on your techniques, knowledge, and experience, Andrew, for the future. With a bow, he respectfully excused himself. Of course, Nouflex-sama, if this was all, then I will take my leave and continue my tasks. As Andrew left, I was about to take a monster drink with a cigar, but Blanc said, Nouflex-sama, Layla is here to see you. She has some important informations for you. Important information. Right after Andrew left him. Okay, tell her to come in then. I lighted my cigar but left the monster drink for later. Hello, Your Majesty, I'm sorry to interrupt you during your precious time, but there is something you need to know. She calmly said, sitting in front of me on the other side of the office. And what is this thing? I softly placed my cheek on my palm, still holding the cigar with my index and middle finger. Messengers from the Carabiana kingdom are heading to Babylon. Our spies confirmed that they have 6 people in total. A coachman, a maid, a diplomat, 2 mages, and finally the princess herself. She explained. Ho, this seems to be interesting, huh? If they sent only messenger I wouldn't give it much thought, but the princess herself came. They must have something in head. I said with an amused look, then I continued. Perfect then, I was going to send you to them to make friendly relations soon, but it seems like they did the work for us. Go, and start preparations to receive them. To be continued, Chapter 61, Arrival, +18. Chapter 62, Alliance. After my time with Serena, it was working time. We have visitors coming from far away and I'm eager to know what they have came with. The throne room was bustling with activity as servants hurried to prepare for the arrival of the visiting princess from the neighboring kingdom of Carabiana. As the king of the Dragon Kingdom, I sat upon my ornate throne, adorned in regal attire as I awaited the arrival of the princess and her entourage. Finally, the grand doors to the throne room swung open, and in walked the princess of Carabiana. Her presence commanded attention as she glided gracefully across the lavish hall. Her beauty was truly striking, with long, flowing black hair adorned with flowers, and a gown of silk and lace that shimmered in the soft candlelight. She exuded an air of elegance and confidence, yet an immeasurable distance she placed between her and anyone else was felt in her cold expression as she approached my throne, her eyes meeting mine with a sense of determination. Looking at me, she seemed to get stunned for a second before she regained her calm demeanor. I guess she just couldn't resist my charm. Damn it, I always try to deactivate my supernatural riz but it just keep kicking in randomly. Welcome, Princess Lara, to this monarch's castle. I greeted her with a big smile, crossing my legs. It is truly exciting to receive you in our kingdom. The princess curtsied gracefully in return, her emerald eyes sparkling with intelligence and curiosity. Thank you, King Nouflex. She replied, her voice almost empty of emotions. The pleasure is mine. I bring tidings of goodwill from Carabiana and a proposal for a peaceful alliance between our kingdoms. I gestured for the princess to take a seat beside me to engage in the conversation, but she bowed slightly, her gaze still fixed at me as she spoke in a hushed tone. Your Majesty, may I request a private audience with you? There are matters that I believe may be best discussed away with only the 2 of us present. I see what you want to do, trying to get me alone to ask for something without having my advisors with me, but it's okay, I'll play along. I thought. Playing it as if I was surprised by her request, I hesitated for a moment, then I nodded in agreement. Of course, Princess Lara. I shall have my servants arrange for a suitable place for us to speak in private. Waving my hand slightly, Layla nodded in understanding and immediately went to prepare a place for us. In this case, please follow me, Princess. I started walking out of the room with her behind me. The maid tried to follow her, but she stopped her from coming by placing her hand in front of her. No, I will go alone. Can't you see that no one is with him? Lara explained to her maid. But still. The maid tried to resist, but she was erupt. There are no buts, it's an order. Lara stated firmly as she followed behind me. As we walk out underneath the twilight sky, the sprawling gardens of my castle bathed in a subtle radiance. I strolled with an air of regal confidence, the scent of night-blooming flowers lingering in the air. Princess Lara, the emissary from the neighboring kingdom Carabiana, met me with an unyielding gaze that matched the sharpness of her proposal as she walked next to me. King Nouflex. Lara spoke, her voice as precise as her demeanor. I was sent here by His Majesty the King, my father, and I bring forth a proposition that could shape the destinies of our realms. I acknowledged her with a nod, my demeanor proud and a nonchalant smile on my face. Speak, Princess Lara. What could Carabiana possibly offer that would interest this Dragon Monarch? She outlined her proposal with calculated efficiency, each word measured as we walked the moonlit paths. Friendly relations, established trade routes, and interconnected roads between our lands would foster prosperity. Teleportation gates would unite our kingdoms, creating swift communication and efficient commerce. We would even acknowledge your kingdom as a legitimate nation, in exchange of the surrender of the Ice Age crystal. If they are ready to do all of this, then this crystal must be either very important to them, or very important to everyone. I quickly thought. Before we continue any further, I'm afraid that I do not know this Ice Age crystal, let alone having it. I replied. This fool doesn't even know about the crystal. That's great, now I can manipulate him however I want like a ring in my finger. Lara thought, with an interior smile that she didn't show, her face was as emotionless and calm as before. Then, allow me to share the true history of the Ice Age crystal. It may not be as consequential as rumors suggest. I raised an eyebrow, intrigued yet suspicious. Speak, Princess Lara. What secrets does this supposedly insignificant crystal hold? With eloquence, she wove a tale of the crystal's origins. This crystal is actually a very important heritage for our kingdom, and legend has it that the Ice Age crystal was merely a trinket, a decorative artifact from a bygone era. Its true power lies in its ability to control the climate, ensuring bountiful harvests and mild weather for both our kingdoms. I considered her words, the implications seemingly benign. Climate control, you say? Useful, but hardly a game changer. Why the secrecy surrounding its nature then? I didn't find about this in any of the book I read. Lara's gaze remained unwavering. King Nouflex, the previous rulers of our lands deemed it unnecessary to reveal the crystal's true potential, fearing that neighboring kingdoms might covet such a power. However, in the spirit of our proposed alliance, we believe it's time to share this secret with a trusted ally. The garden's tranquility masked the deceit woven into her words. So, you propose that we exchange this seemingly trivial crystal for all the benefits of unity and collaboration? I inquired. Exactly, she affirmed, her tone sincere. The Ice Age crystal may not be as glamorous as tales suggest, but its subtle influence can bring prosperity and stability to our realms. I chuckled, my pride undiminished. I see, so from what I understand, you come here proposing friendship while asking for a prized possession in return. What guarantees do I have that this is not a veiled attempt to weaken my kingdom? Lara's eyes, cold and calculating, met mine. King Nouflex, we seek stability, not conflict. The Ice Age crystal is a symbolic gesture, a testament to the sincerity of our proposed alliance. Not giving it much thought, I just accepted her proposal. No matter what artifact is, it's not something that would be worth not having allies and new trade routes to other countries. With a big smile, I extended my hand. Perfect, it's good to have friends in this vast world. Consider this crystal yours. Shaking my hand, Lara said. I see, I appreciate your cooperation and I hope we would prosper together in the future, both as young rulers. Yeah, but before that. Clapping my hands, Layla appeared from my shadow. Layla, prepare a big banquet, we will celebrate our first alliance with the Carabiana kingdom. I happily expressed. As you wish, my lord, it will be ready by tomorrow evening. It shall be worthy of your name. She bowed down. Chapter 63, Banquet. In the grand hall of my majestic palace, the opulence of the moment is palpable. Golden chandeliers cast a warm glow upon tables adorned with the finest silks, showcasing a feast fit for kings. Exotic fruits, succulent roasts, and delicacies from both my kingdom and my old world tempt the senses. As the reigning monarch, I took immense pride and delight in meticulously organizing and overseeing a truly magnificent and awe-inspiring feast. This grand occasion was held to commemorate the establishment of a momentous alliance between my illustrious kingdom and the neighboring realm of Carabiana. As the banquet unfolds, laughter and lively conversations between nobles echo through the hall, accompanied by the enchanting melodies of a royal orchestra. Crystal goblets clink in toasts, each sip symbolizing the promise of even more prosperity with this announced alliance. Dressed in sumptuous attire, servants move gracefully through the hall, ensuring that goblets are never empty and plates are replenished with the most exquisite dishes. The air is laden with the aroma of spices and rare herbs, adding to the sensory spectacle of the evening. The resplendent banquet that unfolded surpassed all expectations, leaving an indelible mark on the annals of history and setting an unprecedented standard for opulence and extravagance. Even the Princess Lara was surprised and mesmerized by the level of this banquet. She probably never assisted to something like this before. The noble members of my court were graciously extended an invitation to partake in this extraordinary culinary experience, one that promised to transport them to the realms of gastronomic delight. Expertly crafted by master chefs, the finest delicacies were presented with meticulous care and attention to detail, ensuring that each dish was a work of art that tantalized the taste buds of all in attendance. But the feast was not merely a feast for the senses of taste and smell. It was a feast for the eyes and ears as well. The entertainment provided was nothing short of extraordinary, captivating the audience with its sheer brilliance and artistry. Many nobles wanted to go and talk with the princess of the Caribbean kingdom, but the cold atmosphere around her made everyone stay away from her. "Can't we just leave? We have the crystal now. I want to go back home. I don't want to stay in this place any longer." Lara spoke with an annoyed tone. "Lara-sama, I understand your frustration and that you don't like it here. But His Majesty the King invited us to this banquet, we can't just leave. For the sake of that crystal, and the future of our country." TCH. She refuted. Some of the gods were present there like Valkyrie and Vita, they were the two who had most eyes on them. Valkyrie was because of her way of dressing and head beauty, while Vita because of her age. Those two were eyeing the princess with complicated expressions, trying to see this woman's worth, and if she deserves to be allied to the monarch. The two mage guards to protect the princess noticed the two gods' gazes, felt an immense pressure on both their soul and body. "Your Highness, we need to leave immediately after the banquet," one of the two whispered to Lara. They actually wanted to flee right now and leave everything behind, but the king would kill them for that. Decades of experience allowed them to understand that the two people they saw were definitely hiding their powers and aura, but deep down they felt that power, a glimpse of it which made them in this state. "This goes without a saying." Lara, who didn't know about the situation, replied. "While most people in the castle were enjoying their time, I was heading to one of the rooms deep in the castle with Blanc so that no one knows where I am and with who." "Nouflex-sama, aren't you going to take part in the banquet?" she asked, following behind me. "Of course I am, I'm the big star of the event after all, haha. But just before that we gave that girl a crystal that we know nothing about, it may be something really powerful." I slightly waved my hands while explaining. "Does this mean?" Interrupting her, I continued. "Yeah, you are right, I told Layla to bring him here, he knows better in that," I said, opening the door to the hidden room. "Oh, looks like you are already here, perfect." I smiled, going to my desk. "Of course, my lord. The moment Layla told me that you needed me, I came here as fast as I could. I'm really excited to be of use for you again, my lord." He excitedly waved his tiny hands. "Listen, Clecapus, I'm sure you know about the Ice Age crystal. We are giving this to the Caribbean kingdom in exchange of an alliance. But I need to know more about it before that." I crossed my legs. The Ice Age crystal, right? I did read something about it, but the informations were too little. But do not worry, my lord, the moment I saw its picture and composition I knew immediately what is it," he proudly replied. "So?" I rested my head on my palm. "The Ice Age crystal is a mystical gem known for bestowing a unique magical affinity upon its user. Upon contact, individuals experience a random infusion of magical power, granting them a new ability. The key to unlocking the full potential lies in a careful cultivation. The more adeptly one nurtures and harnesses this newfound magic, the higher their proficiency levels will soar in the associated skill. Embracing the crystal's power offers a journey of self-discovery and mastery over a mysterious realm of enchantment. It has the potential to make you even reach 5th level magic with the right cultivation technique and that new affinity you would gain." After this long explanation, he started breathing heavily for air. "A weather-changing crystal, huh?" I said to myself, as I continued, fingers on my chin. "So she lied to me, haha." I felt amusement in this situation. "My lord, these lowly human dared to try and fool you. Should we stop the banquet and punish these low life forms?" Blanc, for the first time in those 5 months we lived together, seemed angry. "No, there is no need to stop the banquet. We are celebrating now something that is going to happen anyways, right? Caribbeana soon will become mine, ha 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 ha." A creepy smile was drawn on my face. Chapter 64, Alliance. As the grand doors of the banquet hall swung open, revealing my entrance with the beautiful Blanc behind me, a hush fell over the assembly. The nobles, their eyes accustomed to the regal figures that graced their gatherings, were taken aback by the sight before them. Whispers of awe and curiosity rippled through the crowd as I stepped into the radiant light of the hall. At the age of 21, I carried myself with the confidence befitting a monarch who had ruled kingdoms for centuries. My long, flowing red hair cascaded down my shoulders, framing a face that bore both strength and youthful charm. A noble whispering to his companion, "Did you see the king? I didn't expect him to be so young. And those dragon horns?" His companion nodding in approval. A Dragon Monarch, it seems. This was his title, but it's quite unexpected. I never thought he would be a real dragon, but I must admit, it gives him an imposing presence. The nobles exchanged glances, clearly surprised by the unexpected appearance of their new sovereign, since only a few know how I look. Murmurs of admiration filled the air. About my race, they thought I was a human, so they were surprised after learning that actually I'm a dragon. Sir Cedric whispered to a fellow knight with a big smile. Dragons and kings, huh? I never thought I'd see the day. Sir Geoffrey, smirking, replied to him. Well, he's certainly made an entrance. Let's hope he keeps ruling with the same flair. Some nobles leaned into their neighbors, discussing the striking features that set me apart from the rulers they had known before. Whispers of intrigue and speculation swirled like a gentle breeze, as the novelty of my presence stirred the atmosphere. The ladies of the court, in particular, couldn't conceal their fascination. Eyes widened in appreciation as they took in the regal figure before them, a young king with an air of authority and an aura that hinted at the mysteries of conquest and power. Lady Isabella leaning toward her friend Lady Amelia with a blush. I did hear about him before, but this is too much. The new king is as handsome as a prince from a fairy tale. His red hair is absolutely captivating. Lady Amelia smirked, then replied. Indeed, Lady Isabella. Quite a refreshing change from the usual rulers. I wonder if he's as charming as he looks. Lady Matilda giggling to her friend. Did you notice the way the ladies are looking at him? It's as if they found their prince charming. Lady Constance placing her palm on her mouth. Foo. Can you blame them? A handsome king is a rare sight indeed. Blanc didn't like this at all. Ugh, these bitches, I'm gonna kill you myself. She mumbled under her breath. What was that? I asked. Nothing, your majesty, I apologize. She bowed. Ignoring this, I made my way through the hall, the initial shock transformed into a silent acknowledgement of the formidable figure I represented. The nobles, though unaccustomed to my face, couldn't deny the undeniable magnetism that emanated from the newly crowned king. The messenger from Carabiana, Princess Lara, who was at the center of attention, now found herself ignored by everyone, and her expression proved that she didn't like it either. With a nod, I signaled for silence, and the room hushed in anticipation. My nobles, honored guests, and loyal subjects. I began, my voice echoing through the hall. Tonight marks a pivotal moment in the history of our great kingdom. Princess Lara, the envoy from Carabiana, brings tidings of friendship and the prospect of a powerful alliance. I paused, allowing the gravity of the moment to settle upon the assembly. Pride swelled within me as I continued. Our kingdoms, united, shall forge a bond that will withstand the tests of time. But let me be clear, this alliance is not just an agreement on paper. It is a pact of strength, prosperity, and mutual benefit. Eyes of the nobles fixated on me as I spoke with unwavering conviction. Carabiana brings resources and knowledge that, combined with our own, will elevate our realms to unparalleled heights. This alliance is not a mere formality, it is a declaration of our collective power, a synergy that will shape the destiny of our people. I gestured toward Princess Lara, acknowledging her presence. In the days to come, let our merchants trade freely, our scholars exchange wisdom, and our soldiers stand side by side in times of need. Together, we shall not only weather any storm but conquer new horizons. Carabiana and my kingdom, united, will be an unstoppable force. The hall erupted into applause. With that, I raised my goblet in a toast, sealing the pact that would shape the fate of the Dragon Kingdom and Carabiana. Or that is what everyone thinks now. I was planning on doing it that way, but that princess did a big mistake with me, taking me for a fool, and she will regret it. The one who sent her here will regret it too. This is going to be fun. I tried as hard as I could to not let the creepy smile come out. The banquet has gone perfectly fine, everyone had a lifetime experience that they would never forget, and after when it ended it was already late at night. The nobles went back to their domains, while Lara slept in the castle with her servant to leave tomorrow. Waking up then next day, under the gentle morning sun, I strolled hand in hand with my son Cloud into the royal garden. The air was filled with the fragrance of blooming flowers, and the soft rustle of leaves provided a soothing backdrop for our morning. "Where are we going, Daddy?" he excitedly asked, holding into my hand. "We will have breakfast in the garden, just as a form of change." Also the weather is very good, summer ended a few months ago so it's a good opportunity to go out. I told him. Really? Does this mean I can play with Tyrannia? He did the puppy eyes technique again. Fuck, I can't resist it, too op. Yeah, if she's there you can play with her. But after that you will have to make more efforts in your studies, deal. I smiled at him. They are about the same age, she is a little bit older than him, so when she has time, she usually plays with him. Yay. Okay, thank you daddy. He jumped holding my hand. Sitting in a round summer house, I grinned at Cloud. Well, my young prince, what do you fancy for breakfast today? Cloud's eyes widened with delight as he surveyed the array of pastries and cakes. Can I have one of those chocolate tarts, daddy? Of course, Cloud. I chuckled, Blanc serving him a generous slice. And perhaps a little raspberry tart as well. As we indulged in our sweet morning feast, I inquired. How was your sleep, son? Cloud beamed, a sprinkle of pastry crumbs on his cheek. I dreamt of flying on dragons. It was amazing. Ah, the thrill of dragon dreams. I mused, savoring a bite of a honey-infused cake. They say dreams are the realm where our imaginations take flight. Cloud nodded eagerly, his eyes alight with enthusiasm. I want to be a great king like you, daddy, exploring and conquering new lands and having grand castles. I tousled his hair affectionately. You have the heart of a true adventurer, Cloud. But for now, enjoy being a young prince. There's plenty of time for quests and adventures. As the morning sun cast a golden glow upon us, we continued our breakfast in the open garden, sharing laughter and tales of fantastical dreams. While doing so, 4 figures came from behind towards us. King Nouflex, we have finished what we came here for. We will take our leave now. The princess said, holding a rectangular box, with her maid and 2 guardian mages behind her. Chapter 65, Confrontation. King Nouflex, we will take our leave now. She coldly said. Cutting a part of the cake and placing it in my mouth, I told her with a smile, not bothering to look towards her. Leave. I'm going to disappoint you, but you are not leaving with that box in your hands. Placing the fork on the table, I turned towards her, still smiling. It's either that, or you will be carried feet first. Taking a step back, she nervously asked. What is the meaning of this? Didn't we have an agreement? We did have an agreement, but you lied to me. My smile turning into a sarcastic sad face. I'm displeased, Lara, very displeased. So he knew. Lara thought. Gabaru, take the box from her. With a swift movement, he took the box from her hands and placed it on the table next to me. Not even those mages could do nothing. Here, Nouflex-sama. He bowed. Hey you. One the guard stepped to the front. Crack. The head of the royal guard was now upside down. Gabaru easily snapped his head. It is true that these guards are strong, but compared to the guardians of the castle they are nothing. Who gave you the right to speak? Anyways, let's continue our friendly chat, Lara, shall we? The smile quickly returned to my face. Stay behind me, princess. The one mage left protected the princess by placing her behind him. Do you think you can handle my faith? Erupting the princess, the maid spoke. Should I do it now? Lara's maid though and hesitated for a few seconds before she finally gathered her resolve. You Majesty Nouflex, I have an offer for you. She expressed. An offer? Is there even an offer that may recover our previous relation? Anyway, I'm all ears. I wasn't even bothering to look at them as I placed another piece of cake in my mouth, while Cloud was digging in, not paying attention to his surroundings. Flashback. After the conversation between the Caribbeana king and his daughter about the Dragon Kingdom and Nouflex, and right after Lara left the throne room, her first maid was called upon to meet the king. In the dimly lit chamber, the maid came into the room, with a firm yet weary expression. Come closer. The king beckoned. Emily approached with a respectful bow, her eyes reflecting the flickering candlelight, and she knelt once close enough. I'm here to serve His Majesty, she said. The king's voice resonated with a hint of gravity as he spoke. Our princess embarks on a crucial journey to the Dragon Kingdom. We seek peace and alliance, but should they decline, you carry a vital message. He paused, choosing his words carefully. Tell their king that we extend an offer to unite our kingdoms through marriage. The strength of that man is large and unknown, and our survival requires such sacrifices." The mere maid absorbed the weight of her task, nodding solemnly. She served her princess since the day she was born, so giving her to someone they don't even know felt heavy on her heart, but it was the king's orders, and for the sake of the realm. As she left the king's presence, the weight of diplomacy and destiny rested on her shoulders, bound by the delicate thread of a princess's fate. End of flashback. The King of Carabiana himself offers you the hand of the princess, his daughter Lara Carabiana. She declared. The first thing I did when she said those words is to check the princess again. It is true that she is a real beauty, her face, hair, butt, waist and even boobs. But still her cold behavior make everyone distant from her yet. Yes, she is right, we need this crystal, so let's. Realization striking her, she immediately turned her head to face the maid. Emily. What are you talking about? Did my dad really say that, or you just came up with this? Your Highness, His Majesty the King instructed me to offer your hand for marriage if the negotiations fail. The maid explained. Princess Lara is a beauty that nobles fought over to get. I never saw someone even close to her in terms of beauty. No man can ever resist such a offer. Confidently thought the maid. Understanding that her father was the one to order this, Lara too gave me a gaze as if to check me too, and her face became immediately red. What the hell is with this guy? Now that I look closely to him, he truly is handsome. And that long red hair. She thought. PFFFF. Ha 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 ha. I placed my hand on my face as I leaned my head back on the chair, laughing. This is really hilarious. Unexpected things happen all the time. You want me to marry her? Why would I do that? She already lied to me, and her personality is shit. Other than your beauty, what do you offer? I asked with a big grin. Words betraying her, all she could do is stutter still with a red face. Her cold facade broken, revealing the real her. Why you? How dare you? See? You can't even tell one good reason for me to be interested in you. Now Gabaru, take them to the... I didn't finish my sentence as a black crow with a letter in its leg just landed in front of the princess. Taking the letter, the crow flew from where he came and the princess opened the letter, reading it. No. 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 Her face became even paler and tears rolled down her cheeks like a stream of water. Lifting her head to look at me again with a crying and broken face, she pleaded. King Nouflex Cor Ignis, please save us. Chapter 66, Conditions. Save you. And why would I do that? I said with an amused smile. If you save us, you can have the crystal as well as the alliance, and... Looking the other with an almost angry expression, she continued. Why, you can have me too. I think you are having the wrong idea, Lara. I am not interested in you, not even a little bit. You aren't worthy of being with me after all, the one who will rule the world. Taking a pause to look at her expression, she was truly shocked. She was a woman desired by every man she encountered or saw her. She was used to those looks filled with lust and greed that she would receive from every other man, except her father. But at the same time this greatly pumped her ego, feeling superior from everyone, that there is Northwest one even close to her in terms of beauty, that she will never be rejected, and that all men are simple and the same, that she could play with them like a ring in her finger. But this man in front of her just rejected her. He said he wasn't interested in me, am not worthy of him. Looking at the maid next to him, she was flabbergasted, the first woman in her whole life that is more attractive than her. So this is why. He already have more beautiful women than I am, then how can I save my kingdom? As tears were about to fall down her face, I spoke. But I can always help you, under 2 conditions. But before we go any further, let me read that letter to know what is going on. Still silent, she just handed me the piece of paper, and I started reading it. Dearest Princess Lara. It is with a heavy heart and trembling quill that I bear the burden of delivering the gravest news to your grace. The halls of our glorious kingdom are now haunted by a malevolence that strikes at the very core of our lineage. In the darkest hours, your brother, once a prince of noble stature, has succumbed to the shadows that whisper of ambition and betrayal. Regrettably, his hand bore the weight of treachery, and our beloved king, your father, has fallen victim to a plague of his design. He had managed to control monsters coming from the eastern north of Marial Forest, known now as Nouflex City, to be exact from the desert there. Those monsters bear a plague which killed your father without any resistance. A monstrous malady, unleashed upon our people with a cruelty beyond measure, now courses through the veins of the kingdom. The once thriving land is now a canvas of suffering, as the plague claims innocent lives in its relentless grasp. The whispers in the court speak of a darkness that fueled this heinous act, an insatiable thirst for power that drove your brother to unspeakable deeds. The throne, stained with the blood of kin, stands vacant, and the realm is left teetering on the precipice of despair. Princess Lara, though the tempest of sorrow may threaten to engulf you, the kingdom looks to you as a beacon of hope. As the rightful heir, the burden of redemption rests upon your shoulders. May you find the strength to confront the shadows that now shroud our once proud dynasty. With deepest condolences and unwavering loyalty. Official seal of the kingdom. Oh, it's from the desert we noticed that day. So this is why Diablo said that it is better to ignore them, huh? He's really incredible. Ho ho, quite unexpected, Lara, huh? I said with a grin. But I love the unexpected. It seems the threads of fate have woven a tapestry of tragedy. I continued with sarcasm and a lightly mocking tone. Princess Lara replied, ignoring my disrespect. King Nouflex, I implore you, my kingdom is in ruins, my father has been slain, and our people suffer. I beg for your aid in this time of desperation. Leaning forward, I fixed her eyes with a piercing gaze. Princess Lara, desperation often begets opportunity. I am willing to offer my assistance, but my help comes at a cost, one that you may find demanding. I crossed my legs with a smile. A little bit hesitant, but determined, Lara said. I am willing to negotiate, Your Majesty. Please, what are your conditions? Closing my eyes, I shook my head. No, little Lara, you're getting the wrong idea again. In the presence of the Dragon Monarch, you don't negotiate. You hear, endure, and accept in silence. Why, yes. She didn't have a choice but to accept. Leaning back, steepling fingers, I started. Firstly, once I intervene and restore order to your kingdom, Carabiana will become mine. A rightful addition to my realm. Princess Lara, shocked, tried to respond. Your Majesty, I understand the need for compensation, but to annex an entire kingdom. Smirking, I replied. I understand this, Lara. I am not one to be trifled with. My power and influence extend far beyond these walls. Your kingdom's survival depends on my benevolence. Princess Lara nervously said. Surely there must be another way, a compromise. Leaning in again, I drank a sip from the cup of tea on the table. There is no compromise. My terms are clear. Your choices are simple, accept my conditions or face the inevitable consequences. As Princess Lara bowed in reluctant submission, her outward composure masked the tempest raging within. The weight of her kingdom's fate now is between her hands. In the sanctum of her thoughts, turmoil unfolded. Images of Carabiana, once a realm of magic and prosperity, flashed before her mind's eye, juxtaposed with the looming shadows of Nouflex's domain. She felt the weight of a crown she hadn't chosen, a destiny imposed by the merciless dance of circumstance. Lara's mind churned with conflicting emotions, grief for her fallen father, rage at the injustice of his death and her brother's betrayal, and the bitter taste of submission to a ruler whose motives were as enigmatic as the night. A knot tightened in her chest as she grappled with the sacrifice demanded, the surrender of her kingdom for its salvation. Yet, amid the storm of despair, a flicker of determination ignited. She would play the pawn for now, masking her true intentions like a hidden flame. The ink of her acquiescence on this unholy pact would not seal her spirit's resistance. As Lara lifted her eyes to meet my gaze, a glint of defiance shimmered in the depths. Princess Lara finally resigned. Very well, King Nouflex. If it means saving my people, I will agree to your terms. My smirk growing wider, I replied. Wise decision, Princess. Now let me tell you the second condition.